We are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP. We're a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love, help amazing designers find great players who love their games. We do that in a ton of different ways, but the most fun one is just sitting down with those designers to play the game, and tonight is no different. We're playing The Great Soul Train Robbery, which is one of my favorite games. It is a game that I got a chance to play a few years ago at PAX Unplugged with Alexi, and it's now out in print. You can actually get it at the Plus One store, but that's not the best place to get it right now. The best place to get it is to go to a link that I will find in just 1 second. It's not even the link that's right down below me. That takes you to the itch page, which may take you to the place you need to go. The place you need to go is the backer kit for Back Again from the Broken Land, which is also one of my favorite games that I've gotten to play in the last couple years. That's by Alexi, that's in fulfillment right now. So if you don't have this game and you don't have Back Again from the Broken Land, just get them both at the same time. Save yourself the trouble. It'll be so great. We'll get you all that information in just a little bit, or you can use the links in the description to navigate that if you're watching this later. But Alexi, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online, and tell us a little bit about The Great Soul Train Robbery.
Absolutely. So I am Alexi Sargent of Cloven Pine Games. Cloven Pine Games is my game design handle, and The Great Soul Train Robbery was the kind of first big printed game that Cloven Pine put out. It was something we funded during Zine Quest 2. And we've now, got this, nice, slick physical zine to send around. There's also a free 2-page version online. But if you're, intrigued and want to delve in deep, definitely pick up some version of the full Great Soul Train Robbery. There's a zine length PDF on Itch.io. And as Tony alluded to, you can also get a physical copy of it if you are pre-ordering Back Again from the Broken Land, our new Tolkien-esque RPG. You can, as an add-on, get a physical copy of The Great Soul Train Robbery to add to your order. The Great Soul Train Robbery is a game about desperados robbing the train to hell. It is a game full of allegorical Weird West action and adventure with themes of redemption and damnation aboard the hellbound train. And I am so excited to get to play it with a wonderful group here. Thank you, Tony, for having us on, and I am pumped to see how this hellish train heist plays out and whether our motley crew of desperados can claim their prize, or will they end up damned, broken, or overcome by the train.
Awesome. And I just went ahead and made the link at the bottom of the screen go straight to the backer kit because I can do that on the fly. That's the best thing about short links. So if you use the link right below my face, it'll take you to the backer kit. And then whenever that process is done, we will shift and update that link in the future also too. So Alexi, thanks so much for coming and running for us. I'm super excited to play again with you. Let's meet some of the other folks we're going to be playing with. We got a lot of new faces with us tonight. Let's slide over and just start with Mark. Mark, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and where folks can find you online?
Hey, thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to be here. I am Mark. I write games, I act, and I've been putting stuff on Itch for, I guess, almost around 2 years, I think. I mostly do sci-fi games, and I am queer. So my Twitter handle is @SpaceSibling. I act and do improv, and I usually do games that are a combination of sci-fi and romance, stuff like that.
Awesome. Very cool. Super glad to have you with us today, and really glad that you hopped on the channel, and looking forward to playing more games with you in the future as well. Let's move up. Sarah, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and where they can find you online?
Hi, I'm Sarah, or Cero, and you can find me on podcasts mostly. I run the Red Gate and Wolf podcast, which is a Monster of the Week podcast. Basically, Sassy Thief, Scottish Werewolf, Shenanigans ensue, basically. I have something up on Drive-Thru and on Itch, just one Monster of the Week mystery, but I hope to get more up soon. You can find me on Twitter at ZeroRPG.
Awesome. And then we've got Rosie with us also. Rosie, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and where they can find you online?
Ooh, hey, how's it going, everybody? Once again, thanks for having me on. I'm Rosenbacker. You can call me Rosie. You can find me on Twitter at Rosenbagger_UDG, and I primarily play tabletop role-playing games. Currently have characters on Redgate and Wolf, which is a podcast that Sarah runs, and then also another one called Role Players, where I play Monster of the Week as Carlton Merriweather.
Awesome. Super excited to play with all you tonight. I'm always excited to sit down with a new group of folks and get a chance to play games. So excited to have you all here on Plus One. We use a couple of standard safety tools here on Plus One. We talk about those both before and advance. And the great thing is Alexi and I pretty much use all the same ones. We use lines, veils, and the X card. Lines are things that may happen in the world of our game, but don't happen in our play of it. Veils are things that may happen in the play of our game, but they're handled in a certain way. We may fade to black, fast forward, approach them in a certain from a certain perspective. They're basically ways that we modify the game to keep everybody comfortable. The X card is the ability for anybody to, at any point in time, just say X. We'll pause play, identify what the issue is. It could be that the content has a problem for them. It could be that they're just confused. It could just be that they need to pause, catch up real quick, all of which is fine. We'll identify what the issue is, and then we'll move forward in a different direction, updating any of our lists, but no explanation of why it bothers you is needed. Also, we use an open door policy. Everybody here on stream is a real human person, and we have real human needs. So if we need to get up, move away, step away, as Rosie needs to do right now, that's normal. That kind of stuff happens. If you see us eating or drinking, that's normal, and that happens. If you need to eat, drink, get up, move during this stream, you should do all of those things also too, because people are more important than any play of a game. So those are all things that we'll kind of keep in play. We've already had a chance to kind of set up lines and veils over in our character keeper, but are there any ones that anyone wants to mention, maybe that they didn't get in there, or that we just want to talk about before we dive in? Cool. Alexi, as I hand it over to you, why don't you go ahead and tell us kind of what those things are, just so everybody is kind of on the same page for them, and then you can take us into the Great Soul Train Robbery.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple things that were in our lines and veils is we've got lines on sexual violence and lines on peril to pregnant women or infants. So those are off the table for this story. And a veil is drawn over sex. This is the train to hell. Y'all are desperados. You've led lives that are storied and full, I am sure. Maybe we'll have allusions to any manner of skullduggery and other sordid pursuits, but there's a veil drawn over sex itself as far as graphic descriptions. So probably staying in the PG-13 range overall, though there's definitely the prospect of fantasy Western violence and reflection on lives marked by the type of vice that lands you as a desperado robbing the train to hell. Here's the setup. Here's what these characters are in for. On the road to hell, there was a railway line, an express train to the infernal city of Dis, crewed by furies, carrying treasure and souls to damnation. And you are going to rob it. You're a motley crew of desperados with mixed motives. Will you claim your prize from the train, or will you be overcome, damned, or broken by the heist? So we'll meet these desperados next, and then we'll find out, what becomes of them once they move forward from the caboose of the train to hell and start moving through these train cars in search of their prize. I guess the last thing is just a discussion of the rules of this game. This game is sweetened by Honey Heist. I've taken some of the basics from Grant Howitt's wonderful one-pager Honey Heist, which is about criminal bears, and I've tweaked those rules ever so slightly to tell the story of desperados robbing the train to hell. So your two stats in this game are Lover and Sinner. They both start out at 3. You start out tied. And when you take an action and the outcome is in doubt, when you're doing something that seems, dicey, that should call for the dice, we'll have you roll and try to roll under the relevant stat. You're using Lover for things where you are, kind of generally working from a more selfless motives, right? Use Lover to make human connections, to act with honor, to hold on to hope, to resist opportunities for vice, and generally for selfless acts. Conversely, use Sinner for dirty deeds, acting with brutality, lying through your teeth, resisting pleas for mercy, and more generally for selfish acts. And if it's unclear, I will just ask you, what's most motivating your character right now? So with every roll, we get a sense of, where these characters' souls are kind of moving, your stats will seesaw as you use them, one going up and one going down. The total will always remain 6. But when you act and succeed, you will become habituated to whatever you have used. So if you act with love and succeed, your lover goes up and your sinner goes down. If you act sinfully and succeed, your sinner goes up and your lover goes down. If either of those stats maxes out, right? If your lover goes up to 6 or your sinner goes up to 6, that is an end game state for you, right? Like if you fill up on sinner, you are damned and the train claims you for the long ride down to the underworld. If you fill up on lover, you end up being overcome by pity or compassion. You make some kind of foolhardy last stand, and that's the end of your character. So those are kind of 2 ways your character can go out. It's okay if they go out. It's a one-shot after all, but keep an eye on those stats and see if you want to change things up to last a little longer. There's a way you can always there's ways to always move points between lover and sinner. You can always voluntarily narrate a flashback showing how your life of vice and desperation has led to you becoming this desperado. And by narrating that flashback, you move a point from lover over to sinner. Or you can voluntarily move a point from sinner to lover by making a costly sacrifice for another soul. And you kind of have to present why it's a costly sacrifice, and I, the GM, have to sign off that does sound costly, but that's always a way to move a point from lover to sinner if you so desire. Any questions? I guess I should say, by default, you're rolling a single D6, hoping to roll under the relevant stat, but you can roll an additional dice if you are leaning into your character's speciality or one of their 2 motivations. And you can always choose to mark a scar to take a bonus dice. So that could bring you up from 1 dice to 2 or from 2 dice to 3. But no matter what, your character is scarred. So marking a scar means succeed or fail. Your character is marked by this moment. And you have 3 scars you can mark before your character is broken irreparably. Any questions about the mechanics of the game?
Nope.
I'm afraid I've probably already forgotten, so you'll have to keep me informed as we go.
Absolutely, no worries. In our character keeper we're playing with, there's a tab of basic rules that you can check back on, and I will also just remind you as we go along. I often like to check. Hey, are you sure you don't want to take a scar here for that bonus dice? What's the worst that could happen? All right. That is a little overview of our rules. Let me tell you just a bit about the train. I rolled some dice myself to use my handy dandy GM table from the Great Soul Train Robbery to learn a little bit about what this train was going to be like. So based on the dice I rolled, this train, this engine headed for the Infernal City, is running through the frozen overlands. And the train runs on blood and billows forth deep red smoke. And lastly, the prize that all of you are interested in claiming, the thing that has led to you teaming up to pull off a heist on this hellish train, is the deeds to your town sold by unscrupulous bankers. And we can, figure out a little bit what that means, but that is what the dice have told me is the prize aboard the train. Let's take a moment now to meet the desperados themselves. So shall we go in character keeper order and introduce who these desperados are? Tony, tell us about your desperado.
Yeah, so you can call me, my name's Palacious Sedgwick, but you can call me Pal. I am a gambler with everything that comes with that. I travel around a lot, going wherever the biggest pot is. I am motivated by a prophecy, and I am also motivated by my own pride. I don't I might lose a hand here or there, but I don't believe that I'm ever gonna lose the big pot. And the the prophecy itself actually gives me, I think, a lot of certainty about that. I'm not as ostentatious as a lot of gamblers, but I do dress to the nines fairly regularly. And it's not unbeknownst for me to have, a little something extra up my sleeve as well, including I have a special ace of needles that always points towards my prize also too. So yeah.
That's fantastic. I love PAL. Tell me briefly, kind of where this prophecy came from. Why is there a prophecy about PAL, or a prophecy PAL believes is about him, that points him towards this train?
Pal was left at an orphanage as a young child, and the only thing he was left with was this card. And it said it would always point his way. And so in a lot of ways, I think to him, it is the embodiment of the prophecy. And it's led him from table to table, from prize to prize, in and out of trouble a lot of the time. But it's a little bit more that it's just it's an urge forward more than it is anything specific. There have been a couple of people who have read cards on Old Pal, and they've all said a lot of different things, some of which may or may not be true. But he also feels that there's something more that he needs on this train, that there's a hand shuffled onto this train somewhere that's waiting for Old Pal, for him to in a larger pot for him to take.
Fantastic. Absolutely. All right. Then that is PAL. Sorry, I'm looking at our character keeper, and I see not all the player names are in here. Who has filled in the second column with the column in blue here?
Yes, that'd be me. Thank you. I am playing Catrice. I'm gonna be doing some kind of accent like this, I'm assuming. She, her, and I am a tomboy motivated by love, but also by a death wish. And I don't know if you literally meant, like, I don't know what tomboy meant in the text, but I think I literally am like the girl in the back who was always wearing very agrarian, very cowboyish clothes and hiding behind a big hat and trying to pretend to be one of the sheriff in town. And on my 21st birthday, I was actually finally having my very first drink at this town saloon, and I met the love of my life so far. And the boy I met, it was crazy. I was down in my first beer, and I saw a boy at the bottom of the liquid of the beer, and he jumped out of the bottle, and it burst open. And I thought, oh, I must be on the liquor already. What's going on? But we had some wild adventures together. We threw rocks at each other. We rode horses. We rode with the bulls. And then after our first kiss, he gave me stink bombs because I rolled that as well, and it was perfect. And of course, out of nowhere, maybe it is out of nowhere, I learned that he is a demon. So sometimes you fall in love with a demon, and then he gets sucked back into wherever he came from. And I'm thinking, this is the way I'm going to find my way back to him.
Wow. Okay. So you're thinking, as you rob the train to hell, you might be able to reunite with this love of yours, this devilish beau.
And worst case, I'm going to find some clues here for sure. But worst case, I do have a death wish, and I think what that means is I'm willing to ride this train to hell if that's what it takes. And for reference, his name was Snakebite Hutchinson. I don't know if that's his real name. It's probably not his like demon name, but that was the name of the kid that I met.
Snakebite Hutchinson. I love it. Sounds like a real heartbreaker, I gotta say.
He's a good guy.
Catrice, love and a death wish. Absolutely. I think I can see how you've ended up amongst these desperados and aboard this train. I'm sure nothing but good things await you here. Next up, Rosie, I think we've got your character here, right?
That's correct. Let's see. Characters. Oh, hey there, son. I'm Cole Robbery, and I'm the fiddler here. I'm out for redemption because I got exiled from my town. I'll show them what.
Just to check, is that the town whose deeds have been brought aboard this train? Like,
It ought to better be.
You're gonna get redemption by rescuing the town from the devil?
Well, not just that. That just kind of seems to be icing on the cake for me. Now, what I'm really after is that 2-bit son of a gun, Steve Miller, gone off stole my original composition.
Steve Miller?
Yeah, see, as per this game, I'm a lover and I'm a sinner, and I'm going to ride this train all night long.
Some people call you the Hell Cowboy. That's very fun. You've got a speciality of fast playing and fast talking. Is your instrument a literal fiddle? Because there's space for fiddler to mean whatever it needs to mean in the kind of sphere of music. But I see you've got an illustration with a looks like a classic fiddle there. Is that Cole's main instrument?
Well, yeah, I'd say anything that's got 4 strings and a box, I can make noise on it.
Where have you been since you were exiled from your town? Like, what's life like for an exiled fiddler?
Well, it's not too bad. There's another town about 2 miles south.
But it's the principle of the thing.
It's the principle of the thing. And right before I was going to get Steve Miller back, they done hung him. So now I'm going to get him back.
So you think
son of a gun myself?
You think he's aboard this train, and you're gonna get your post-mortal revenge on him?
Yes, sirree.
Okay. Anything else we should definitely know about Cole before we meet our last desperado?
He wouldn't admit to this, but I can tell you that he can't read or write music. He can play it. That's how I got stolen.
Nice. So like, it got stolen by virtue of someone writing down what he was playing.
Correct. Somebody else just wrote it down, and now,
Ain't that always the way?
Everybody thinks that he is the thief, and that's just why they exiled him from town. He was going all crazy and such.
Okay, yeah. So he really does need he needs not simply redemption, but sort of to be recognized as the true originator of this music.
Yep, and to get revenge on Steve Miller.
Yeah, those are the motives: redemption and revenge. Yeah, as I mentioned, each of these characters has mixed motives, and they've rolled from tables of nobler motives and baser motives. Last but not least, Sarah, please tell us about your character.
Well, howdy there. My name is Agatha. I'm a fury, a southern belle of a fury, and my damn witch of a sister, also a fury. Winifred, she done kicked me off the train in the first place, and I need to get my way back on there and avenge myself against her.
Nice. Yeah, so in this world, the Furies crew the train to hell, and Agatha is a renegade fury, though it sounds like not a renegade fury by choice.
Oh no, dear, definitely not by choice.
Under the kind of Southern Belle demeanor, what is the tell that you are indeed, no mere human, no mere mortal, but a renegade fury?
Oh well, I sometimes have a little rumbly in my tumbler, you hear, but that's none of my fault. That I blame on Bob. You see, Bob, and she'll lift away the material covering her stomach, and there's this giant mouth with a little bit of facial hair, and he goes, "Hey, I'm Bob, and I'm here to eat all the unrepentant souls. Agatha, I'm hungry."
Are your fellow desperados aware of Bob as our as the heist begins?
Oh, dear me, definitely not. It would
Great.
be unbecoming of me to be showing my delicate flesh.
Good. Just wanted to be clear on where we stood with that. Well, wonderful to meet Agatha and Bob.
A
Anything else we
pleasure.
should know about either of them before we get underway?
Oh, yes, well, I always travel everywhere with my little blue parasol in my little dangly clutch bag.
I would expect nothing less. Absolutely. I guess last order of business. Agatha, starting with you and going back, which of these fellow desperados are you happiest to have at your side as you embark on this heist?
Well, I'm of 2 minds over Pal there. He looks like quite a charming young gentleman, but at the same time, Bob also seems to be taking quite a liking to him, and that has me on unsure about that.
Indeed. That's fascinating. I'm here for it. Cole Corroboree. Who amongst these desperados do you feel will be a strong ally? And is there anyone you're less certain of?
Oh, that little dame over there with the blue parasol, I tell you what, she makes my heart sing.
Just better hope you don't make her stomach sing. That's the feeling we're getting here. All right. Anyone else you're kind of a little worried about having at your back during this potentially dangerous confrontation?
Well, shoot, I gotta say, something smells a little funny about that Catrice.
She is carrying stink bombs, as we've discussed. Catrice, you are kind of. It sounds like eager to prove yourself, right? To prove you belong in the kind of rough and tumble world of desperados. To whom do you need to prove yourself among these other participants in this heist?
Well, yes, sir. I think I'm thinking Cole. I think I gave a little bit of a side statement of we're all going to get through this, and well, if and we don't, that's okay. We'll just ride the train to hell. And I think that people who heard that were not mighty keen on that idea. So
excellent. Yeah, I can see that generating mixed reviews. Palacious, Pal, turn into you here. Who seems like a sure bet, and who seems like a losing hand amongst your partners in this heist?
Well, it's never too good to show your hand too early. So I expect that everybody's hedging their bets just a little bit as we step onto the train. I do think that the young lady with the blue parasol probably is the one that I am most curious about. I'm not quite sure how they'll fare through this entire process.
Sometimes people surprise you.
Sometimes.
In one way or another. Pal, then I want to start with you. Rumbling along the tracks through the frozen overlands, we have this infernal train. The establishing shot shows us it's like skull-shaped engine, barreling forward, and then rising up from above it is this column of red, dried blood colored smoke, and the smoke kind of trickles back all along. Hard to make out all the cars that it passes over, but at long last we get to the caboose, and above it there's this sort of miasma of red smoke from the train, and within it in the caboose, we have these 4 desperados who've somehow stowed aboard in order to embark on their heist that will call them to move forward car by car through the train to hell until they reach their prize, which rumor has it is somewhere up near the front of the train. Palacious, kind of what do we initially see? What was our establishing image of Palacious here in the caboose? And if you don't mind helping to paint the scene as well, what kind of chills Palacious as he looks out of the caboose window at the surrounding scenery of the frozen overlands?
Yeah, as we cut back over, like, the train cars, I think we actually come over the top of the caboose down over the back, and it looks almost for a second like Palacious, who was the last one on the train, is checking a pocket watch until you kind of zoom down, and it's very obvious, like we get that over the head shot that it cuts quickly to his hands, which are deft and capable, shuffling a deck of cards, pulling card by card until he pulls out his ace of needles, and it stops and starts spinning for a second in a way that causes kind of his eyes to shift as we move close up onto them. We see one eyebrow kind of raising before we pan out a little bit. He's like I said, dressed well, but mostly kind of somber tones, as he figured they would be less conspicuous stepping onto a train bound for hell. And he stows this deck in kind of a front pocket and pulls out a 6-shooter, and then you see him slide something up his arm that you're not quite sure what is, before he kind of turns and looks back over his shoulder past these kind of heavy wrought iron doors that you can see as much as we're in the frozen wastelands. Like, it doesn't look like the day is especially cold yet. However, you can see kind of this cracking ice around the wrought iron that looks like it almost broke the back door off of this caboose that's slowly starting to kind of spread out in a crystalline pattern around the edges as his breath kind of frosts in the air. And then we can zoom forward to the next person inside the train.
I love it. I love also the implication that maybe it was the creeping cold breaking off these doors that even allowed our desperados to make their way onto the train in the first place.
Yeah.
Catrice, what's our establishing shot, kind of showing Catrice, readying herself for the heist to come, and then if you don't mind building onto that, what chills Catrice as she observes the surroundings of the frozen overlands that the train is hurtling through?
Well, I think Catrice is looking up between a deep 10-gallon hat and then on top of a handkerchief as well. So she's hiding most of her face as she hops down from a crate, looking through the whole train car. And I think as her feet set down, she has a moment of, this is what I've been waiting for so long. So why is my hand getting a little shaky? What, I should be finding a nice shadow to hide in, finding the right way forward. And yet I had a plan. I knew exactly what I was going to do. So why is this chilling me straight to the bone? So I'm assessing as many threats as I can, eyes darting left and right.
I love it. That's great as our introduction to Catrice. Cole Robbery, we turn to you. When we see this fiddler turned desperado, what kind of establishes the sort of person he is, and then and what shows him, taking in the bone-chilling scenery of the frozen overlands.
So Cole Robbery is wearing overalls and a straw hat. He's got just like one of those. He's got a big bit of tobacco in his mouth, and he's looking out over the rest of the cabin. He's looking outside the window, seeing all this red smoke pouring up, and he starts. He's tuning his guitar, or not guitar, excuse me, tuning the fiddle a little bit, and he's playing a slow, somber tune. And every few notes, he goes to write something down, which once again, he doesn't have any idea how to read or write. but knows that this is where he messed up the last time. So he's kind of like trying to write it down in a way to copyright his own material.
So it's like he's jotting something down, but not according to any like existing notation that anyone else.
I gotta know. Is it just like what is it? Is this just show? Does it look kind of like music, or is this like conceptual notes about the type of music you're playing?
It's a conceptual, like an artist's interpretation of what music should look like written down. He's kind of, I mean, it's probably some like rudimentary tablature, right?
Nice. Okay. Very nice.
Is he
He's
scoring
like-
our heist or?
Who knows? To him, he's writing down music. To other people, it looks like alien script.
Fair enough.
But it sounds fantastic.
And what's his what does he notice in the scenery of the frozen overlands that is chilling, or at least sends a little shiver through him?
Well, he doesn't have any shoes on, so he's super cold.
better for toe tapping music.
It's clear to him that this might have been a bit more than he had to chew on than he's used to. So it's kind of a what is it when you're writing a song about your death?
A dirge?
Oh, a dirge.
Oh yeah.
Oh, great.
That's what we're hearing.
Great. Last but not least, Agatha, what's our first glimpse of you back here aboard the train to hell, and how has the route through the frozen overlands gotten worse since you were exiled?
Oh well, it's all dirty, of course. It's filthy. I mean, I only dealt with the first class cars, so this is just beneath me. And I must get all this dirt off my cute little clutch purse.
Fantastic. Yeah. Anything else about Agatha's perspective and demeanor as the heist is about to commence?
Oh yes. Every so often, you see her place a little white gloved hand against her abdomen, almost as if she has an upset stomach, but she's too polite to say anything or draw any more attention to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like perhaps in some ways she does have an upset stomach. So there you are in the caboose, readying yourselves for the heist. Who is brave and daring to press forward into the next car? Kind of cross the little catwalk. Train click clacking below you, and enter the first car of this train after the caboose.
I'll press on. I think I'm noting this smell of blood in the air from the smoke billowing from it, and I'm thinking, if I need to, I can use my smoke bombs as a distraction, because they'll definitely notice the change in smell.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you press on forward into a new space. You've kind of moved from the like sort of chill and almost eerie quiet of the caboose car into a post office car. You push open the door, and there's just rows upon rows of canvas bags of type that are full of letters, the sound of fluttering paper, and there's seems to be kind of a desk up sort of opposite you in the car, and several figures are working behind the desk. They're sorting mail. Their limbs are kind of moving in a whirlwind to sort this mail, and as you watch closely and see, they definitely have more arms than humans usually have, as they're sorting through letter after letter, but they haven't noticed you immediately. What do you do?
I think this is. I was picturing demons. I was picturing ghosts. I was picturing anything that could be on the other side of that door, and that's the one thing I had never imagined. So, I guess Catrice steps forward and sees at. Are there actual like mailboxes, like slots?
Yeah. It's a post office car.
I'll see if my name is on any of the boxes.
All right. So Catrice checking through the post office car in search of her own name. Absolutely. Yeah. You are doing that search. We'll check in with you in a moment. Do the other desperados follow?
Oh yes.
yeah.
Agatha will take out a little handkerchief and hold it delicately up to her nose, mutter something about, oh, the working class. And then go looking for her mail slot, because since she used to be a resident on the train, I presume she, may have accumulated some mail since she was last here.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. So you, unlike Catrice, you're not like searching for an unfamiliar thing. You go right to your accustomed mail slot, and you see that it is full to bursting. But as you kind of start trying to like winkle letters out from it, it seems like many of them are just notes from your sister Winifred about how glad she is that you're no longer on the train and how much better things are after you were you were kind of shown your place and no longer allowed to to bring your dilly dallying and tomfoolery into the work here.
Yet another reason why I must dispatch of my dear sister for being so disrespectful. And I just shove her letters into someone else's mail slot.
just into a random other person's mail cubby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Palacious, you join in the other desperados in the mail car.
I want to take a look at one of these crates real quick back here.
Ooh, just kind of like pouring through the crates back in the caboose.
I mean, I've never been on a train to hell before. I've been on a lot of trains in my time. And I'm just curious.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's see. I'm rolling on my 36 trinkets and trifles aboard the train to hell table to see if we find something cool here. You kind of like open up a crate, and just sitting there tantalizingly is a slice of the darkest, moistest chocolate cake you have ever seen or even imagined. What do you do?
It's the darkest cake I've ever imagined. It's the moistest cake
darkest,
I've ever imagined.
Moistest chocolate cake you've ever imagined.
It's just one slice.
Just a single slice of cake in this crate on the caboose of the train to hell.
I'm like, I don't. It takes up so much. I mean, like they gave it so much space. It's got to be good. And so, like, I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna take a bite, and then I'm gonna turn around and say, "Anybody else want some of this cake?"
So you're still in the caboose. So I think Cole is the only one close enough to hear your offer of this devil's food cake.
It's real good.
Cole just kind of does like a huge spit onto the floor of the caboose. I ain't got time for that, sir. We got on this caboose here. I don't want to have a full stomach. It's about to see some wretched business up ahead. I tell you what.
So Cole, just to check, are you at all tempted by the cake, or this is just not the sort of thing that that would distract Cole from his goal?
I would say that for Cole, he's not tempted by the cake because he's more worried about getting to what is ahead and being the nature of this train, knowing that it's probably going to see some bad stuff and best to not have a full stomach.
Yeah, I hear you. So So you're kind of leading the way to join the others in the postal car. Pal, you tagging along behind?
I mean, I'm going slower, and I'm taking my time. You can't walk too fast while you're eating the moistest, darkest chocolate cake you've ever seen. But
Yeah. So since Cole turned you down, you're taking that as permission to finish off the slice.
I mean, nobody else said anything, and so
it's delicious. Just tastes great. You feel like choosing to eat this dark cake here on the caboose of the train car to hell was the best decision you've made all day.
Getting on this train may have been the worst decision I made all day. This cake may be the best.
Right. Yeah. So as the rest of you are making your way into the post office car, that's about when Catrice finds her mailbox. For some reason, there's a little box waiting for her here in this this place, enveloped in paper and postage. It looks like there's just a single small note in it.
Okay, I'll
what do
open
you
it
do?
up and read it.
Yeah, absolutely. The kind of like wild and looping handwriting says, Catrice, if you found this, you're in the wrong place. Get out while you still can. And then it's signed with just 2 puncture marks at the bottom of the note, like a snake bite.
I'm gonna rip it up. That sounds exactly like what he would say. All right, everyone, let's keep moving.
That is great. Yeah. So you guys are trying to press forward. As you're doing so, kind of out from behind the desk bustles one of these mail sorters. You see that he's kind of human shaped, but he's got like at least 7 arms, moving so fast it's hard to see, as he's very quickly like sorting and sealing and stamping letters. Right. He kind of looks like distractedly and then like slightly less distractedly at the 4 of you and says, what are you doing back here? Do you have something to send?
Yeah, you got any mail for Steve Miller? I'm on my way to see him.
Miller. He's running quickly down, the mailboxes and like, nods to someone behind the counter who's like flipping speedily through, a Rolodex, and they're like, looks like nothing for a Mr. Steve Miller.
Well, y'all got anything for me?
What's your name?
I'm Cole.
Cole who?
Cole Robbery. You ain't never heard of me? I point to the fiddle, tap it a little bit.
Can't listen to music here. It's too distracting from the work.
That's a darn shame. Everybody's got time for a little bit of music.
He doesn't kind of seem amused by this, but he does check to see if there are any messages for a Cole Robbery, and he says, yes, someone did leave something for you, and he hands a like hefty sheaf of sheet music to you. Hope
what
that's
the heck
useful.
am I supposed to do with all this?
That's your concern, my friend. We just deliver the messages. You have to decide what you do with them.
Kind of takes it and just starts walking towards the end of this car, just like muddling something. What in the heck are all these? This is the weirdest picture I've ever seen in my whole damn life.
Mr. Cole, I believe it's a trap. I got a message as well, but I'm not sitting here listening to it.
Pal slides up next to the desk as he's finishing the cake, and still with it in his mouth, with chocolate on his hands. Picks up a sheaf of like letters and just starts pawing through them, and chocolate's getting all over him too. You got anything here for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So like that's when like a bunch of hands suddenly reach and like grab your wrist and hold it still as a stern voice says, "No food in the mailroom."
Oh, was that yours back there? I'm sorry. It didn't have a name on it.
Sir, I'm going to have to call security.
Security? No, you don't need to do that.
Interesting. Are you
Agatha wants to mosey on over, or sashay rather, and she'll put a hand out. Mr. Palshaw, she goes, "Now then, I'm sure we could come to some kind of agreement here. I could get this miscreant out of your carriage, this cute little carriage here, so you can return to work without any further disruption that security might bring."
So this feels like a roll should happen.
Oh God.
You're trying to resolve things peacefully. So it's plausible to me this is a lover roll. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
All right. Any of your motives or speciality play into this?
Let's see. Justice, stubbornness.
Your
I
speciality
probably
is punishment, which is
punishment.
not exactly what's going on here, right? Like in fact, some ways you're trying to avoid
Well,
the
I'm
need for punishment.
saying I would take him away and deal with him. So my
Hmm.
speciality is punishment. I could be insinuating that I would be punishing him.
Okay. Tell me how you convey that. Like, what's the tell for these many armed mail sorters that you, Agatha, are taking on the punishment of this soul that has stained their letters with chocolate?
Well, I guess she would surreptitiously, so that none of her compatriots could see this, but the many-armed man across from her, she would just kind of lift up a little bit of the material covering her stomach, and anyone else listening might just hear
A little sound of gnashing teeth too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. I buy that. Sounds like a punishment roll. Roll 2d6. You're making a roll with lover, given that you're trying to resolve the thing peacefully. So 2d6, trying to get under a 3.
I wrote what did I roll? Oh gosh, this is a confusing.
I can see that you rolled
Is that the 2 and the 5? 2 and a
a
5.
2 and a 5. 2 and a 5. Yeah. So a 2 will do it. That's all you need. Yeah, a 2 is a success. So adjust your stats. This is habituation. Your lover stat goes up and your sinner stat goes down. If you use our character keeper, you can just go to the drop down menu for lover, move it up to a 4, and your sinner will automatically reduce to a 2.
Nice.
And a full success without any complications. So the mail carriers kind of like one by one relinquish their many grips on Pal, and kind of nod and say, "Very well, miss. I see he's in capable hands with you. Enjoy your meal, but outside this car."
Of course, dear. I certainly shall. Now, come on, Mr. Pal, right this way. And she'll lead him out to the end of the carriage that's leading away from the caboose, obviously, to get us further into the train.
Yeah, nice work. All right, so you're aiming to move on to the next car in this train?
Yes, with a very firm grip on Mr. Powell's arm. You know, kind of in a way like a Southern Belle would hold onto a gentleman's arm, just nicely tucked under, but like a death grip, like you were coming with me, Mister.
Are all the Furies on this train? Is there a little bit of a Stepford wife reality to them?
Yeah, we haven't
Maybe
met
the ones
Winifred
in
yet.
maybe the ones in first class.
Yeah. All right. So I think the four of you make your way out of the post office car, and you know you there's like a little kind of a little like space exposed to the open air, kind of hanging off the end of the post office car, so you can look up and see that the next car in front of you is clearly the armory. Reinforced walls, the scent of gunpowder pervading it, the sounds of clinking claws and blades coming from the inside, and up on top, what looks like a Gatling gun, hanging out on the roof of the car. So before you press on, I am interested in what your approach is going to be. Like, are you just pushing your way right into the armory, or taking another go at it? We had, I'm interested in Cole's perspective on this, because you were slightly befuddled by what was handed to you in the post office car. So what's your approach now that a more kind of outwardly threatening car is looming up in front of you?
So I imagine first saying is, as soon as the door opens, my papers that I just got, the sheet music starts flying everywhere. So I'm grabbing around trying to catch them, stuffing them over.
Yeah, there's this like chill breeze that snakes in from the frozen overlands, and so you're absolutely trying to reclaim the sheet music as it flies all around. Yeah.
Yeah. And then as I finally get the last one stuffed in, I look up and I see the Gatling gun. And I say, "I bet that thing surely can rip through a tin can."
Yeah, it's a lot of security for a train going through the middle of nowhere right now.
Well, dear, there's certainly a lot of precious cargo on board. It needs a lot of protecting.
Tell you what, Steve's gonna need all the protection he can get. And is there a ladder I can start climbing up?
Yeah, you're trying to climb up to the roof of the car.
To the Gatling gun, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's what you see, right? Like as you are ascending the ladder, getting close to that Gatling gun, you see what looks like the person who's meant to be operating it, who's just kind of strolling around nearby, taking a smoke break. Kind of shortish fellow with little horns poking up out from his bowler hat. Clearly an imp of some sort, a minor devil aboard this train, and he is taking a drag on a little cigarette. And the question for me is going to be, what do you do when there's this suddenly this other player up here, right? Like, are you trying to like race over to the gun? Are you trying to like lay low and hope he doesn't spot you? What's your approach, Cole?
I'm gonna duck my head back down, go back down the ladder, and say, "Oh, shoot! How rude of me! Ladies first."
Interesting. So you're basically upon seeing that there's potentially opposition, you're throwing Agatha or Catrice forward. There's two ladies amongst your crew.
Thank you. I'll go. I think I know you were probably not talking to me, but I like push past and climb up and see, and I know this is my perfect moment.
As you go up, I say, watch out for them horns.
And it's time for a sneak attack.
Oh
My
boy.
specialty.
Oh yeah, sneak attacks are your specialty. So this is just kind of trying to get the drop on the guard. Use violence on him before he knows what's happening.
I'm gonna try and tackle him so he just falls off the side of the train, just like rolls off, and is just off of it basically.
Nice. That sounds like a sinner roll, since it's sudden unprovoked violence.
Great.
So if you would roll 2d6 because it is your speciality.
2 5s.
Oh
So,
no,
failed.
that is a failure. Great. Why don't we take our first break here, and when we come back, we will see what becomes of Catrice and move forward from there. So Tony, should we take 10? Does that work?
10 minutes is fine with me. Yeah. So we're going to take a short 10-minute break. So we'll be back about 9:15 at my time, 15 after the hour most places, 45 after the hour in some places also too. But you have to be in a really very unique place in Australia in order for that to happen. So with that said, we'll be back shortly to play some more of the Great Soul Train Robbery.
Nice.
We are back live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. We are playing the Great Soul Train Robbery with Alexi Sargent from Cloven Pine Games. Our desperados have made it through a few trains, but now are facing a new type of problem. I'm going to hand things back over to Alexi to take us back into the action.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Desperados moved from the caboose through the postal car, and now they've reached the armory car. Catrice the tomboy had, hurried up the ladder to attempt to sneak attack the lone guard manning the Gatling gun atop the armory car, and rolled badly. So we took our break right then when the dice hit the table with a big old miss, and now we get to see what the result of that might be. So Catrice, you tackle him, right? Like you get him by surprise, and he's hurtling over the edge of the car when it turns out he has caught you right by your lapels and is dragging you with him. The kind of in like the confusion, you find yourself yanked from the roof of the car and like catch on to the very edge. Hanging on, by your fingertips to the edge of the roof of this armory car, and you've got a angry, yelling imp clinging to you, as the both of you dangle from the edge here, and as he yells, he manages to kind of like pull from his pocket a little whistle and blow on it. This is clearly an alarm of some sort. So for the other desperados, you hear the sound of people saying like "move, move, move," and like you hear like lock and load sounds from inside the armory car that are clearly guards arming up and getting ready for trouble. Let me check with Agatha. What do you do?
Oh, bless her little soul, getting us into trouble. Mr. Powell, could you please give me a boost up? I feel like we need the high ground for this.
Okay.
Please mind your hands.
Yeah, I
though.
would say I think Pal like starts and then all of a sudden is like doesn't know what to do at all.
So you're trying to shimmy up the ladder as well to the roof of the car.
Sarah.
Is your destination also the roof of the car, Agatha?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
it is, sir.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Then Agatha's headed up. As she's doing that, the armory door swings open. It's this heavy reinforced door, and several guards wearing Pinkerton uniforms step out from the armory. They've got a mix of handguns and muskets, and they're training them on anyone who's in sight. Cole, are you still there? Have you ducked for cover? What's the scene as they kind of charge out of the car?
The door burst open. I'm behind the door as it burst open.
Nice. Laying low, staying stealthy. We'll check in with that in just a moment. Pal, you might be the one caught out in the open since you were given Agatha
I do
boost.
think I am just standing there like with an awkward grin on my face. I reach up and put my hand on the ladder, and I want to shoot down and try to shoot the pin between the two trains to try to separate them. So the first couple of ones out the door kind of fall down.
Interesting. So you're trying to take a shot that will uncouple this train car from the one behind it.
Yeah, it sounds like an unlikely shot. It sounds like there'd be 1,000,001 odds in order for this shot to happen potentially.
Oh yeah. Well, good thing your speciality is 1,000,000 to 1 odds. So tell me, do you think this is a lover or a sinner roll? It's engaging in violence, though you're not directly shooting.
I would argue this is engaging in not the least amount of violence I could possibly do if I am doing violence. I think this is distraction for escape for my party. I would actually argue this is fairly neutral, but probably leaning towards lover, if anything.
Okay. Yeah. If selfless motives are at the forefront for Palatius Sedgwick, then it is a lover roll.
If I roll at, does it count, or is it just under? I can never remember.
So it's roll under, but at is success with a complication.
Okay, so I got a success with a complication.
Yep. Oh, you did now. Well, so firstly, that's success. So bump your lover up.
He just did.
I think there's so there's sort of like
That's what that grin was for.
in an unearthly way, this bullet, travels down and just like hits the coupling of the train cars at exactly the point it needs to like knock free. Like it basically like hits a nail that like then like spins up and out, right? And then the train cars come uncoupled, and the like the caboose and postal car are left behind as like several of the Pinkertons kind of like stumble over each other, and like at least one is like falls and like is hanging on, grimacing, right, as his legs are bumping against the train tracks below, right? But there's a complication. I think the complication is, as you like pause to take this shot, someone else steps out from the armory car in time to lay a gentle but firm hand on your arm, pal. It is someone wearing a dress a lot like your friend Agatha's, but in a severe gray color, and she has this like similar kind of Southern Belle affect, but you spot that one of her arms appears to be one of her kind of forearms appears to be a gnashing dog maw. Right, like there are a
not
bunch
the one she gently placed on my arm, I'm guessing.
No. You placed a human hand on your arm, but the other arm is there, kind of like growling. Yes. Sorry, she has two arms, one human, one very much not so. As she says, "Well, I do declare, what do we have here? A miscreant attempting some sort of skullduggery aboard this train? Thou that is no good, I will have you know."
I assure you, ma'am, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and just trying to get even closer to it.
Well, then you won't mind my helping you along to your final reward, my friend. As grip gets a little firmer as she's pulling you down from the ladder. Cole, your friend seems to be in trouble out here. I wonder, do you do anything?
Are we friends?
Your associate.
It's okay if not.
Your fellow heister.
So I'm gonna just push the door back away from me, and I dare say that is the most beautiful voice I ever heard. If I could write, I'd write you the sweetest poem.
Ooh. Are you trying to sweet talk a fury?
I would say that I am trying to sweet talk, but a bit faster than that.
So sweet talk, in a fast way. So
the fast talking of the specialty, hopefully.
Yeah. You can get your fast talking dice for this. Yeah, absolutely. My question, I guess, is this like wholly a deception, or is there something sincere here? Because that will kind of make clear whether this should be a lover roll or a sinner roll.
I'd say it's sincere.
This is like you're genuinely charmed by this voice, ready to lay on some charm in the hopes of making a real connection, in addition to being helpful to poor Sal here.
If I could be helpful for Pal, that'd be great.
Pal, yes.
But otherwise, yeah. So it's 2 dice, right?
It is, yeah. Roll lover with 2 dice because your speciality, and of course, if you want to take a scar for any reason, you can always roll with 3 dice.
We can save that for later.
All right. All right. Go ahead and make me a roll, Cole.
So I did, and I got a 2 and a 3.
A 2 will do it. A 2 will do it. So increase your lever. Bump that up to a 4. It's funny. We haven't had any successful sinner rolls yet, have we?
No.
Yeah, like she turns to look at you, kind of like cocks her head to the side. She's like, my, oh my, aren't we forward? But sometimes I like that in the gentleman. You say you'd serenade me with your music, sir? Let's hear it.
Step on right inside, have a seat, miss, and I'll show you the way. And I walk into the armory, playing a little tune, a little bit more upbeat than we started before.
Yeah, not the dirt,
but among the
earlier.
Same variation, right? So
I see. It's following a similar musical motif, but different kind of genre of composition here. Yeah. Okay. Kind of seemingly distracted from our gambler friend, the Fury 3. Let's go your arm, pal, and follows Cole into the armory. Let's check up on the roof of the car. Catrice was dangling off the edge with an imp holding on to her. Agatha got a boost to go up there. Agatha, the coast is clear for the moment. There's the plate. You can see where Catrice is just holding on to the very lip of the armory car, and you can hear the sound of movement down below, but for a second you have the roof to yourself. What do you do?
Well, after I straighten my skirts, I would approach the two, and I will say to the imp, "Oh, devilish sir, let me help you." And she'll lift up her skirts and go to stomp on the hands of Catrice, but instead she'll go and spin around at the last moment and kick the imp to try and drop kick him off the train.
Wow. So it sounds like 100% this is deception.
Yeah, probably not the wisest for me, since it's a 2 for sinner at the moment, but
backstabbing a colleague of sorts. Tell me, is there any chance you want to throw in a flashback here? Because if you have a flashback that shows how your vices led to you becoming a desperado robbing the train to hell, you can voluntarily move a point from lover to sinner. Just in case that's appealing to you before you make this roll.
I guess that I would have a flashback. Agatha would be one of the little pranks she made a played on her sister Winifred was to fill her sister's closet with imps. After, kind of starving them for a while and locking her in her room once she heard the imps being released when she was in there, Just one of the sisterly pranks that perhaps could have done a bit more harm than perhaps she intended, or perhaps not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like that gives us a bit more of a sense of what occasioned your becoming an unwilling renegade, Fury. Please go ahead, move one of your points from lover over to sinner, so that would bring you back, I think, to 3 and 3. And let's do that sinner roll. Any of your specialities or motives play into this one?
Can't think of how punishment would work in this instance.
I mean, you are kicking someone, into the frozen wasteland surrounding the train to hell. So
Sure,
it's
it would be
sort
a
of
punishment to the imp if he goes flying off the train and lost in the wasteland. Yeah, I'm sure he deserved it. He is an imp after all.
Yeah, probably he was one of the ones that caused problems for Winnie, such that you got kicked off the train ultimately, and so it's really his fault when you think about it.
Oh yes, you were the one who squealed and admitted that it was I who had so forcefully forced you into her wardrobe. Yes, I will punish you for your knocking. I couldn't think of the right word. 2d6.
2d6.
Oh, a 1.
One of them's a 1. A 1 will do it. So yeah, so like the imp thinks that you're about to help him, right? Thinks you're gonna kick Catrice off and then give him a helping hand, and instead you just bring this dainty boot down right on his horned head to knock him into the frozen wastes, and he hits the ground, and there's like a puff of dust, and then quickly he's in the wake of the train, right, as the whole car pulls up ahead. So he's out of the picture. Catrice, do you clamber back up? What do you do?
Yeah, I get back up, breathing heavy, and I feel like it's still like playing Cole's music in this like action montage.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be.
Thank you. I guess I don't know what came over me. I just got one look at that, and a look at the turret, and I want to get into it.
Oh, well, I perfectly understand, dear. Many young ladies are into mighty fine, large weapons like this one here that is mounted on top of this train car.
I have been long as I can remember.
You may touch it if you desire. I will not look. And Agatha will turn it back.
Demurely turning away from the Gatling gun. Agatha, you should also move your sinner up because of your success at dislodging the imp and leaving him to his fate.
Hockey.
Fantastic. Catrice, what do you do?
I think
Touch
that yes, I want to touch it, and as soon as I touch it, I think it sends me into a flashback, and I think back of when I was saving Snakebite from a flock of geese that were chasing him, and at the time I didn't know why, because I thought that was a bit strange, but of course we know geese hate demons, so now
That's
it
true.
makes sense.
Geese can always tell when you're a demon.
I was shooing him off, and as a thank you, he put a silvery pistol in my hands. Do we have guns?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I have a gun, and that's what it is. And it's got his face on it. Literally, it's got a demon engraved in it. And ever since then, I've been fond of guns.
Yeah. I mean, so this flashback moves a point from lover over to sinner for you.
Gotcha.
And I think like as soon as you touch the gun, you hear kind of its whisper in your mind, and it's got this like sort of gravelly voice. It's like, hey, you want to give it a try, don't you? Fire off a couple rounds, teach them who they're messing with. Come on, just a little.
I'm gonna turn to Agatha and say, ma'am, I know exactly what we should do. And I'm gonna get in the gun and I will shoot at. I'm gonna blow the roof open, like right in front of it, so we can drop into the armory car.
Just try to blast your way into the armory car. Nice. Let's have that sinner roll, and you've got a nice high sinner stat to do it with. Do you feel any of your specialities or motives apply here, or do you want to take a scar in the process?
I don't think so. Yeah. I think
All right, just the one dice then. Let's see what happens.
Oh, I thought it was 2. Okay.
Oh, well, it'd be 2 if you've got a speciality or motive coming into play, or if in the absent that you can take a scar to bump it up from 1 to 2. You can also take a scar to bump it up from 2 to 3 if you're like, I want to be rolling a bunch of dice, right? But yeah, by default, if you're just a desperado doing something, you're rolling 1 dice.
I pressed 2, so I will just take a scar, and then I think I made it though.
Cool. Okay, nice. So that's fun. Yeah. So mark that scar on your character sheet and tell me, like, what do you think the scar is? Like, is it a physical scar you take from the ricochet, or is it like some weirder scar from giving into the temptation of this gun? I don't know.
I think it has giant shells that shoot out of the side if you use it. And of course, it flies into my hand, and there's just like a huge burn on my forearm. And
nice. This is a brimstone powered Gatling gun. So there's absolutely this sulfurous burn you take from doing it. Yeah, and like suddenly the scent of blood in the air just becomes like very sharp for you. But yeah, you do it. Move another point from lover over to sinner. You might keep an eye on where that's putting your stats overall. Just word of warning. But yeah, you are blasting open a way down into the armory car. A sudden new sunroof on this place. So let me check quickly with we got everyone, we got people spread to the winds here. Let me check quickly with Pal, then with Cole, since the roof is hypothetically about to come down on or near you. Pal, real quick, you got bailed out and were left clinging to the ladder. What was your next step?
I mean, I love the idea that like Pal's just kind of been keeping an eye on things, and then finally is like, and is walking, just climbing up the ladder as like all of a sudden bullets start to like, and just as the drops, like I'm gonna get to the top about the time that everybody else is headed down again potentially.
Nice. Okay, so like you like pop up over onto the roof of the armory car as you see Catrice opening fire and
can so drop back down
this thing. Yeah. You're dropped back down into the armory car?
I'm dropping back down so I don't get shot. So.
Oh, beautiful. You try to do that, but the chocolate on your hands is suddenly like almost tar-like and like sticking you to the train car, making it much harder to move. What do you do, in that situation?
It's on my hands specifically.
Oh yeah, you were eating this chocolate cake, and specifically got chocolate covered, and now that chocolate is suddenly kind of becoming this much kind of tarrier substance that seems to be adhering between you and the train car.
I think my immediate concern is not so much that I'm adhering to the train car, that my fingers are like sticking together a little bit. That like I feel less dexterous and my hands feel less nimble.
That'd be a big problem for a gambler.
It would be. And so even though like the immediate problem is it's hard to move around, I don't think that's actually what causes concern for me. And I think like he just starts like try to use the rung to like scrape this kind of thickening tar off.
Just using whatever you can to try and get free here. Do I want to make that a roll? What would it be?
I mean, it could be certainly not lover. It could be if we want to name like, hey, there's a lot of action happening right now, and there is a level of self-concern. where I've forgotten about everybody else and become more fixated. It certainly would play into pride a little bit, which is one of my motivations.
Right. You're proud of your
like
proud
I'm proud
of, your
of my
gambling skills.
abilities. Yeah. And so
Yeah. Your dexterity.
my concern and fixation on self is causing me to neglect what is happening around me to the detriment of my fellows.
Yeah, let's make a sinner roll to see how Pal gets out of this one.
I got a 2 and a 3. So
And
I think that
your
is a success with a complication.
Your sinner's a 2. You're succeeding with a complication. That's awesome. Yeah. So you will. So your sinner goes up. You succeed in that you kind of scrape enough of this off that you then can scoot your way down. Right. No longer being stuck in the path of this, the like ricocheting metal and like slag that's been flung up from this incredible display of firepower. Complication for our friend Pal here. You know how you said you're a pretty good gambler. You always win a game, but you might lose a hand here or there.
Oh.
I'm not going to make you lose a hand, but I do think you have to choose which of your hands do you get kind of nice and clean, and which one still has this slag stick, has this tar sticking to it, and it's going to like slow you down.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Because I don't know. I don't know if Pal's a southpaw or what, right?
I mean, I feel like in classical form he's probably ambidextrous. I like more of kind of maybe even a classic representation, even though left-handed people are not inherently evil.
Left-handed
like
myself.
a Sinestra versus right-handed mindset. Let's say it's his left hand that does not get clean. So his right hand gets clean, his left hand does not.
Okay. Yeah. So you've got kind of a left hand marked by the dark chocolate you were getting into, but you have gotten away from immediate danger. Let's check inside the train car. Cole, you had stepped inside to serenade the Fury. Can you give us any sense of what sort of a song you presented in this car that's full of it's got weapons on every wall, kind of just not the like most romantic of locations, right? Like much more of a place designed for kind of practicality and sort of a certain brutality too.
So he's taken in a lot of this. There's a lot of aggression in the air. There's a lot of red in the sky. So kind of taking these themes and mixing it with like the playfulness of two birds chasing after one another. And as the roof falls in,
yes, that is like as like you are like presenting this, and the Fury seems to be enjoying the song you're putting forward. Suddenly, the roof comes falling in.
And does this fall between us?
Ooh, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. I like that picture of the roof, seeming to like come collapsing in between the two of you.
I give her a wink and I say, "Oh, darling, this ain't the first time I've blown the roof off the place."
Well,
can I step through the door of the train?
What's your oh, I see. Yes. You think the roof's fallen kind of, to like give a little like barricade between the two of you. And you're just trying to make a getaway. I think you still have to roll for it. Because she's not, as easily flim-flammed as perhaps other dames of your acquaintance, Cole. This is a Fury, staffer of this infernal train. And if you're hoping to make a quick getaway, you're going to have to be faster than her dog-mouthed arm.
So, how do I change my numbers again? What's the rule for that?
Yeah, so there's two things you can do. If you are moving a point from lover to sinner, you can narrate a flashback showing how your vices led to you becoming a desperado robbing the train to hell. Or if you're trying to move a point from sinner to lover, you have to voluntarily make a costly sacrifice for another soul, which is a choice you have to make and kind of be able to justify. But if you can, then you can move a point to lover. Though I think it's possible this is a sinner roll to begin with. I don't know, unless there's unless there's a different angle on it that I'm seeing. But it seems like you've kind of tried to lower her guard and then skedaddle, which sounds a bit like a scoundrelish thing to do to me.
Well, as it states in my original masterpiece, I am both a lover and a sinner, and as I pull on these strings here on my fiddle, I've pulled the strings of a few hearts back in my day. So in this flashback,
some people call you the gangster of love.
It's kind of the same thing, right? I composed a piece for a young lady, but I was only in town for a little bit and had to skip out of town. It's a recurring theme, and
leaving a trail of broken hearts behind you.
Loved her and left her.
So move a point over to sinner, and then it seems like you're rolling with sinner. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if your redemption or your revenge plays into this. You're not particularly redeeming yourself in the moment, or solely pursuing your revenge. Fast playing. You know what? You were doing some fast playing though. I'll give you that speciality die.
All right, I'll take
and you can always get a third one by taking a scar if you so desire.
I'll skip the scar for now.
All right, roll 2.
Ayo. I need
what have
that.
we got? We've got
4 and a 1.
Okay, the 1 will do it. So your sinner's going to go up. So move your lever down to 2. Sinner's going to go up to 4. But you are. Did we break the? We broke the. That's okay. That's okay. Hey, you did it. You did it. It's good now.
Yeah.
But you are home free, right? Like you before like the dog maw comes snapping round, you are out of there, dancing away out of the armory car. Up above,
I'm gonna blow her a kiss as I walk through.
Of course you are, you scamp. Up above, Agatha and Catrice, you can now look down into the car, where you see a Fury in a steel gray dress, kind of yelling after a retreating figure. "Oh, I should have known. All you mortal scamps are alike. Pinkertons to me." And Agatha, let me check in with you. I've introduced this other Fury. Does this seem like your sister Winifred to you?
Unfortunately, sir, yes, it does. Does seem like that awful witch, Winifred. I will, in fact, call down the halter and I'll say, "Oh, Winnie, how unexpected for us to meet on this train of all trains."
"Agatha," she says, icily, her voice the only thing colder than the air of the frozen overlands. "I wish I could say it was a pleasure to be reunited, but I'm afraid that would be a lie. And I hate liars, as I hate deceivers and schemers and backstabbers of all sorts. To what do I owe the distinct displeasure of seeing your face, or at least one of them, once again?"
"Oh, Winnie, 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 bless your non-existent soul." I'm here, sister, to actually see you and to dispense some justice upon your dog ugly behind.
Is justice the name you've given to your pique and pettiness, sister? Truly, you surpass even my expectations for the depths you could sink to.
Depths. Depths. The depths that I have sung to? Oh, sister, you were the one who abidely kicked me off this train. Now
And I
that
do it
I
again.
cannot abide.
Yeah. So, Agatha, what do you do?
I think Agatha would push Catrice out of the way and hop in the gun and aim it at her sister.
I see. So you're just trying to you're not interested in a fair fight.
Oh no. The sheer stubbornness is what's in play here. It's stubbornness over justice. Although in her mind it is justice and she is punishing her sister. Can I get 3 dice?
You can get 3 dice if you take a scar.
No, I'll just use 2. I just thought it would be funny.
I mean, scars. It isn't bad to take a scar. You've got 3 of them.
You control the rate at which you take scars, so there's not a risk by taking one.
I guess I really do want to like turn her into paste, so I'll take an extra die.
All right, so that's going to be 3d6, and if you're trying to turn your sister into paste, that is a sinner roll. I think,
or at least put a lot of holes in her.
I think sororicide is kind of necessity.
I didn't even need it.
sinner.
I rolled a 1 and a 2 and a 5, but I took that scar. Yeah.
Yeah, you took that scar. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is this has got to be like, is the scar a hit she gets in, despite the fact that you're blasting her with a Gatling gun? Because that seems interesting to me if it's interesting to you.
Yeah, I think that her sister would get 1 hit in a sense on her before, she is obliterated.
Yeah. So I think the like the gun starts whirling up, and she says, "What in tarnation? Why, you no good, dirty, treacherous little," and then right, you open fire, and then like somehow like arcing up and out of the cloud of blood and smoke is this gnashing dog maw that she had as an arm, which just goes straight for your heart, right, and like tries to like take a bite out of you. So it's not going to be anything as lethal as what's just happened to dear old Winifred, but she is getting her fangs into you one last time. Agatha, anything else you want to say about your scar here?
About her scar that's on her heart? I mean,
Yeah.
Sisters, man, they fight dirty. They go straight for the boob, apparently. Agatha will just take out her little handkerchief and start dabbing at the blood spots
gushing out.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. So like your pretty blue dress has this like streak of red now like running right down it, I feel like. All right. Catrice, you're right there for this. What's your reaction?
So I wanted so bad to sneak attack Winifred, but if I did that, it would send my sinner to 6, so I couldn't do that. So I waited and watched this exchange, and then I think after I like pull off my handkerchief and sort of wrap it around to help stop the bleeding for Agatha.
Yeah. Agatha will just kind of swat her hand away and go, "Dear girl, no, keep your dirty little hands away from me. I do not know where they have been."
Well, on this Gatling gun for one.
True enough, I suppose. And then I'll drop down into the armory tank.
Agatha, you do go up in Sinner. Absolutely. You rolled a success on that. Catrice, I have to ask, were you angling for making a costly sacrifice?
Yeah, but I don't think it was that costly, and I don't think it worked, so that's fine.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, here's the thing. Like, offering a sacrifice and having it kind of like batted away by someone, that could be costly in and of itself, right? Like, the cost could be more like the wounded pride you're carrying. Or anything
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think I had a moment of like, well, that's why I should be focused on my mission, I suppose.
Nice, but so I'll give you shifting the point from Sinner over to Lever for for the attempt, right? For aiming for a costly sacrifice there. So like the armory car is a wreck. There are like maybe a handful of Pinkertons that had been trying to regroup and then got blasted by the second round of Gatling fire. Some are like groaning, wounded on the ground. Some are not groaning. Some are in pieces, right? But there's no one actively blocking y'all's way at the present time. Palacious, you had kind of managed to hang back from a bunch of this action and hear the gunfire from a distance. Are you now kind of traipsing through the armory car, or
I think we see Palacious kind of like he's trying to kind of trailing his hand along the wall, like still trying to like clean off this one hand as he walks through sunbeams that are sunbeams might sound too warm. Shafts of light that kind of like cut through at awkward angles, showing
shafts
off
of cold light
barren landscape. His breath frosting like into each one before he steps in, as the wind just kind of rips through this empty cart. Yeah, he just kind of makes his way to the other end. Is the dog hand moving?
That had kind of bit into Agatha and then presumably got yanked away or swatted away. Are you interested in a kind of moving weird dog hand that's fallen to the ground here?
I'm interested in knowing whether it's still alive or not. I think as I get to the body, I think it catches his eye as he looks down.
It kind of whimpers a little bit, like.
Against my better judgment, I put out my sticky chocolate hand and kind of pet it, and let it lick my hand.
Are you making a costly sacrifice for another soul by giving a little bit of chocolate to this poor partial hellhound in perhaps its last moments?
Yeah, I think this is just a little bit of a little bit of I don't know that I'm not trying to move stats right now. I'm at 3 and 3. I'm fine. I am I think this is a mix I don't want this stuff on my hand and this dog seems real unhappy right now. And those two things kind of meet up. I think that kind of washes out in the mix. So no stat movement. But yeah, just kind of pets it as it dies. Because he doesn't really know, I think in his mind he was prepared for human and demonic things, but not necessarily the mix of human and demonic things that has confronted him.
Yeah. So this dog mouth hand lick some of the tarry chocolate off of your hand. You regain some dexterity while still being just a little marked by what you've done. But it definitely gives a little bit of comfort to this strange infernal creature. And I like that as maybe a kind of closing image of the armory car. So when we pick up again we will see what awaits our desperados further along this train to hell. But let's say we take 10 once more as a break here. Yeah.
Awesome. Also, let's not talk about the fact that chocolate is bad for dogs. Like, no one in this universe, chocolate is fine. It was gonna die either way.
Demonic hell dog.
They
sure,
didn't know that
it
at one
would be
point. That's
fine.
new knowledge. Pal doesn't know that. It's fine. Yeah, and demonic
Hell dogs can have a little chocolate
little
as a treat.
chocolate off of a hand. As long as it's off of a hand, then it's fine. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. live here again here on Plus One EXP, heading to the final stretch of our Desperados riding a train to hell, robbing a train to hell, riding.
Yeah.
We are riding it while we're robbing it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to hand things back over to Lexi to take us back into the game.
Hey, so our quartet of desperados have made their way from the caboose through the post office car and really through and through the armory, which they have blown to smithereens. Left pieces of Renegade Fury Agatha's sister Winifred in their wake. And the next car that you find yourselves in is clearly the bar car. Cole, you come in first, right? There's just the rattle of bottles against the wall. There's a wooden bar polished to a mirror-like shine, and a bunch of barflies kind of slumped along the bar, and a table a little further away where some folks are clearly playing intense game of cards, and a player piano in the corner kind of tinkling slightly out of key. As you walk in, the bartender who was polishing a mug behind the bar kind of catches sight of you as a newcomer and says, well, you there, what'll it be?
Well, sir, I'll take a round of your finest whiskey for me, my friends here.
Are you gesturing expansively to your fellow desperados coming in behind you?
Yeah.
Rye whiskey with a dash of brimstone it is, he says, pouring a series of shots on the bar.
The tab's covered for the musicians, right? I start playing along with the player piano.
Nice.
Realize it's out of tune. Untune my fiddle so that I am in tune with the end tune fiddle or player piano.
I like this a lot, and to be honest, there's always the potential for the cost of beverages on the train to hell to be something you're much less interested in paying than just a song. So let's have you roll for that song and see if you successfully cover the tab for you and your companions.
Is that a performance roll?
Seems like it's a roll that you can apply your fast play into.
You've got proficiency in it. Don't worry.
Yeah. Probably with Lover, since you're genuinely offering some something of value here. Putting forward
Roll with
some
advantage.
music.
I was going to argue that it's potentially a sinner too, because I'm trying to get out of pain for things.
If selfishness is at the forefront for you, Cole, then absolutely you can roll with Sinner.
All right, so that's 2 dice, right?
That's right. Unless you want to take a scar.
I do not.
All right. Make me a 2 dice Sinner roll.
I believe that is a 1 and a 5, so I did good, right?
A 1 is enough. Yeah, absolutely. So your lover's going to go down 1 more, leaving you at 1 lover, 5 sinner. Just flagging that in case it's of interest. Since if your sinner goes to 6, you are damned. But you are highly successful here. You managed to untune your fiddle just right to mesh with the sound of the player piano. The bartenders, nodding along. Some of the patrons of the bar start tapping their feet. People are getting into the music, and the bartender smiles as he pours the whiskey and says, "I do believe that'll suffice."
I grab mine and I head over to that poker game.
Yes, I was gonna say, as you, if you stop to consult your Ace of Needles, it's gonna give you a little kind of mixed reading where it's pointing both forwards, but also quavering towards that poker game, it thinks there's something there for you.
I feel it kind of pull in my pocket that way as it kind of spins, and yeah. I head on over. What's the ante, gentlemen?
The dealer, shuffling the deck, is like, ante here. Auntie's the memory of the best meal you've ever had.
Well, I had some really good cake just a little while ago.
Cake isn't a meal, says a like big burly guy, with like a scar across his face.
Well, sir, sounds like you've never had cake good enough. As I say as I start shuffling the deck.
So are you anteing up your memory of cake?
I'm sure I've had a better meal than that cake. But I mean, it was
really
delicious.
good. It's really good.
And so, it may be the best thing I've ever eaten. But the best meal you've had is a mixture, not just of the food, but of the location and the people with which you are dining as well. I think my memory of, there's kind of two that immediately flash through his mind. His memory of a giant steak dinner with a tall glass of cold beer on a riverboat right after he won his first big tournament. But it's also kind of oddly mixed with like the birthday meals that they would have at the orphanage that were which was pretty stark, and the meals themselves weren't good, but they were the only good meals they got. So there's like the nostalgia for bad meager food prepared with love in the company of the only found family that you have, that kind of both juxtapose in his mind. And I actually think it resolves onto that childhood memory in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. What does that look like when it becomes a poker chit in front of you, right? Like when it becomes what you're anteing up?
I think like it like for him it looks like a poker chip. Like it is not anything like that is for him that's something that intrinsically represents value. But if you were to zoom in on it, like the detailed filigree, instead of being like swoops or hearts or classic poker symbols, is like a ring of children holding hands. And if you zoom in a little bit closer, there's actually like faces and distinction to each one of them. They're the other people from the orphanage that he grew up in.
Amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. And so like they're dealing you in, and someone's like, all right, this one's for all the marbles, boys. We've got here a never-ending flask of liquid courage. Puts down this like gold filigree covered flask, and he's like, and I do mean liquid courage. A single drink from this, and you'll feel bolder and more fearless than you ever have any other time in your life. And everyone mutters an appreciation of what's on offer here, and gets ready to play. Agatha, do you go take your whiskey at the bar?
Yes, she will pick it up and have her little finger daintily stick out the side, but she'll take little sips like she's drinking tea.
Nice.
Her attention will probably be split between the people playing poker and Cole, because Cole's sinner has gone up, and there's always sinning at poker tables. So she'll also have a hand over Bob to try and keep him quiet, give him a little comforting pat. Like
there's this like rumbling sound coming from below. Yeah, what's yeah, there we go.
Feed me.
Yeah, that's what I figured you might be saying. The bartender kind of like does a double take seeing you, and like spots the long like streak of blood going down your blue dress, and he says, "Why, Miss Agatha, have you returned, and did you get to talk to your sister?"
Oh yes, I did. My sister Winnie and I, we were able to sort out our differences, and but there is no longer any animosity between us. Thank you for asking.
Oh, well, I am relieved to hear that. And then he like spots over your shoulder, Catrice, and he swears, And it's like, no, and ducks down, hiding behind the bar.
I'm gonna step forward and then firstly take my shot, and then try to see if I can look at him over the bar, look into his eyes.
Yeah. He's trying to hide from you, but there's no hiding that devil may care, handsomeness and that swoop of hair of your love, Snakebite Hutchinson, who apparently is now here, pouring whiskey in the bar car of the train to hell.
I'm gonna pull out my 6-shooter and slam it onto the table, and it has his face on the side of it. And I say, "Well, sir, isn't there anything else you'd like to say to me?"
He kind of like sheepishly rises from behind the bar. Hey, Cat, fancy seeing you here. Then like tries to whisper, "Didn't you get my message?"
I thought you were trying to protect me from something. I reckon you were trying to be a little bit over presumptuous, as always. Now, I came to bring you back.
What? You what now?
I came to bring you back with me. You shouldn't be here. You should be back in town.
Cat, I'm a demon.
Well, I know, but we're not. We don't prejudice. We don't. We're not overly choosy about our clientele or about who we accept.
He looks like from side to side. He's like, I can't just leave my post. I got to be with you because I was on assignment, and then I had to. I've said too much already. Look, just mosey on out of here, and we can go our separate ways. It's for the best.
I know what I have to do. I'm going straight to your manager. And we're going to get you a new assignment.
Yeah, his eyes go wide. Cat, that's suicide. You can't talk to the big man and expect you're going to walk away.
Well then, and I'll pull out my gun. Maybe I got a death wish. And I'll turn away.
Okay, so like no like trying to kind of like allay his worries at all here.
I think this is like the relationship that we have, where we're kind of like everything is like a quest to take on, and everything is like we can break down all the barriers that are stopping us from being together, but we don't like talk about our feelings explicitly. I'm sure we will at some point, but it's it's more like
that's a lot of certainty to have given the situation y'all are in right now. But yeah. Okay, cool. I buy it. I'm here for it. As Catrice is like locked and loaded, ready to charge on out. Like when she's out of earshot, Snakebite leans over to confide in you, Agatha. He's like, I was supposed to seduce and beguile her into becoming a outlaw queen, sending souls by the trainload down here, and I couldn't do it. She had too much of a free spirit. I had to throw the smoke bombs and bail, but now she's on this train. Maybe it was meant to be. Maybe she's always going to be a hellraiser, no matter what I do.
Well, if you ask me, I mean, it seems like if she were to take up this calling, perhaps the two of you could be together.
But what would it what would it do to her soul, Agatha?
Well, I would not know. But what is it done to your soul just knowing her?
I don't think I have one of those, but if I did, it would be filled with all sorts of little glowworms, little sparky creatures, you know?
Sure. I think I know what it is you're saying, but the fact that you abandoned your quest to spare her does indicate that these little sparkly glowing creatures may just exist inside of you.
Are you trying to offer real comfort to the snakebite here?
Yeah. I'm trying to be a little bit. Is it kind of selfless or to say something nice
Yeah, I think it
and
might be selfless.
comforting?
Yeah.
Oh, so I can get a point in lover and take one away from center.
If you feel it's a costly sacrifice you're making here to like spend your time on the train trying to sort out Catrice's love life for her, then yes,
Yeah,
I
because part of
buy it.
Vegas's thing was to get back on the train, but if she is trying to turn people away from the train, that's kind of going against the whole I'm back.
Yeah. Yeah, it does undercut some parts of your big re-entrance here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like move a point from center over to
Done.
lover. Yeah. And yeah, pal, let's check in on you. You're playing poker. You've wagered your memory. There's on the line a flask of liquid courage. How are you playing? Like, by the book?
Oh, I'm playing by the book. I mean, like, I'm playing skillfully by the book. So, there's a lot that goes into that.
But nothing.
No, I'm not cheating.
Nothing cheating. That was what I was going to say, right? Like, is this the lover approach or the sinner approach to playing poker on the train to hell?
To playing. I mean, like, I don't even know that. Like, I'm aware that people cheat. I just am aware that I'm not one of those people. I did get a 6, but I also did get a 1. And so
a 6 and a 1. Well, the 1 will do it. Raise your lover, lower your sinner, and you win the hand. Like, what is the like winning hand you lay down at this table?
Yeah, so I think like it's there's a couple people fold, like one person stays in, obviously, like they obviously don't have what it takes to hang, they just think they do. I don't think I get a crazy good draw, and so it's a little bit of a push, but I just kind of hang on there, and on the last flop, I pull out 3 of a kind, and the other person flips over their cards, and they also have the same 3 of a kind, and then we flip over their cards, and one of them is very obviously a different back than the rest. And so I think there's actually like somebody else gets caught, like the other person gets caught for cheating as well, which I don't know what the penalty is for that, but go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, what's someone's got an idea here.
Agatha.
Bob's hungry.
Nice. So like, as the scarred man is like, hey, I don't know where that card came from, right? Like, it's like everybody else is like glaring at him. There's this like rumbling sound from Agatha's stomach. Yeah. Bob's like, let me at him.
Bob, eat.
Yeah. So what happens
like when Bob eat?
Well, Agatha will delicately put down her little shot glass. She's only had about half the whiskey. She'll hop off the bar stool, approach this poor, unfortunate, but totally deserving man who needs to be punished, and she'll rip aside the scrap of material that covers Bob, usually, and his little facial hair is kind of moving and his teeth are gnashing, and she'll just literally almost comically like one of those giant Muppets on the Muppet Show, pick the guy up and shove him head first into her stomach mouth.
Yeah, is Bob a like, you know, is Bob a messy eater? Like, are we picturing kind of a bit of a wood chipper effect here?
Well, yes.
Yeah,
because I'm sure Agatha isn't happy with the mess he makes, but it is, unavoidable, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, so all eyes are on that. As Pal, you scoop up your winnings, and yeah, the question is, Cole, are you ending your playing with any sort of final flourish, as it looks like your companions are ready to skedaddle?
So Cole's just gonna stop playing at the side of this person being eaten by the midriff. Notices that the player piano.
This is a surprise. This is a surprise that Agatha, has this extra mouth that eats people.
Notices that the player piano does not have the same spatial awareness, and I kick it to make sure it stops too.
Nice.
You stop playing with mouth open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agatha dabs her little hanky at the corner of her own mouth and burps quietly into it, and then she dabs at the corners of Bob's mouth before reapplying the material, tidying herself up, and then turning around with a smile on her face as if nothing has happened back to her companions.
And like Snakebite from the bar says, "Agatha's back, gentlemen." And like a couple of the barflies, express welcome for this returning fury.
Agatha does the screwing in the light bulb kind of wave that that's reminiscent of the Queen and all of that.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you are commanding the room, and if what you want to do is bid them adieu and bring your companions to the next car, you absolutely can.
Well, gentlemen and urchin, as she looks at Catrice, let us continue on our journey through the train. Thank you, gentlemen.
And
good day.
I'll nod, and then before we leave, I'm gonna try, as I've been just stealing myself at the door, I'll trot back to the bar, and I think there was one last whiskey glass that was full.
Yes.
Just down it immediately and look Snakebite in the eyes and say, "Don't move a muscle. I'll be right back." And I'll leave.
That's fantastic. I want to call for a little montage here. So the way this works is we're gonna use a montage to stretch the train a little bit, give us a sense of further more kind of cars that we will fully play through. And kind of the prompt for the montage is going to be each of you will get a chance to lay out a challenge, right? Lay out a problem that will be confronted in a number of cars to come, and then you lay this out, and then pass it along to the next person in character keeper order and ask how they solve it. So we don't need to roll the dice here. We're kind of like taking a step back from engaging the mechanics in a granular way to just collaborate on this montage of what further challenges await our desperados along the course of this train. Tony, Pal, are you up to start us off by describing a challenge in the further car? And this is something that you're going to be having your T and Catrice up to deal with it. So So what's the challenge?
Yeah, so I think as we step out onto the next train, we actually just hit, like, it's a flatbed, but the smoke from the train is just rolling across the top of it, so it's almost like this blood red fog as we step out into it. And I think as we breathe it in, we see, like, a moment where we lost control, like where our passions raised up, and kind of took over in our past. So yeah, I think I'm just queuing it up, and then Catrice has to deal with that reality, right?
Yeah, Catrice, how do you kind of rise to this challenge and help bring your whole crew safely through this rolling red fog?
So the main threat is that it's bringing our sort of past memories like back to us.
Specifically, moments of anger and loss of control.
But possibly enough that you might just kind of like fly off the handle, right? Like lose your way in the midst of this this fog.
I think that there is the reinforcements of the Pinkertons comes in behind us, and we just can't control ourselves. We're in this just chaotic battle of passion and anger and fighting against them. And then I am thinking about what made me feel the most emotional in my entire life. And it was when I first met my first night with Snakebite, and it kind of breaks me out of it. And that's when I realized there's like this shadowy creature that's covering the ceiling. And it's just kind of billowing down weird smoke just like into our brains. And I wonder how I would solve that. I clearly use smoke bombs. You
got to fight smoke with smoke. They say fight fire with fire, fight smoke with smoke.
So I just dissipate it with just smoke and disgusting smells all over the place.
Yeah, instead of this like oddly intoxicating like rush of rage you're getting, instead there's just stink bomb smell, which like shocks you back to your senses.
And we're still able to take out the rest of the soldiers in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Then Catrice, you're up next. Tee us up with another challenge that the Desperados will face, something that Cole's going to have to deal with.
So for the next car, we walk in, and it's just a serene setting. It's the barn car, and there's just hay everywhere all over the place, and then there's just a bunch of horses and cows just minding their own business. And as we walk up, they don't seem to care that we're there, and then a flock of geese flies out. But they're demon geese.
Oh no, the opposite.
Exactly, they've become what they hate the most. So
demon geese. Yeah, all right. Then Cole corroborate.
Well, there, buddy.
With the demon geese.
So I imagine there's some hay bales that are stacked up, maybe in the center in a corner somewhere. And it's there's only one solution to this, even with the geese and the way that they are. And aren't geese always demons? So it's time for a barnyard dance. Cool dude on, tapping my feet.
Yeah. What is...
the geese joined in.
You get them to dance along with you.
The horses are tapping their hooves. The cows are ringing their bells, and you need a horn, so the geese are honking away.
Nice. So it becomes this whole like orchestral arrangement.
Yeah. I'm playing a bard.
And a bit of a druid, honestly, at this moment. But that's fantastic. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so that and like you're able to like just dance your way through once you get them all joining in the song. So Cole, lay out another challenge in the coming car, something that Agatha and Bob are going to have to step up to.
All right, so this room has it's like an escape room of a sense in which it's very
Aw.
complicated, right? It was supposedly created by the devil, is what I assume.
Devil's own escape
because
room.
it's super complicated, and I was, I guess, still dancing with the geese. That the three of them went ahead of me, and I am now stuck on the outside of the room with the manual of how to like get out of the escape room. But there's no pictures; it's just all words.
You can't read it. Oh boy. Okay. Good. This is good. Then Agatha, we turn to you. How do you get yourself and your fellow desperados out of this scrape?
I think this is an instance where Agatha doesn't actually know what to do. I mean, she's heard rumors of this car, and there's been a lot of rumors, death, and souls just giving up or whatever. But Bob just eats the puzzle, and it seems to just somehow the room itself just gives up. Bob makes the room give up instead of the other way around. And it
Amazing.
opens both doors so that Cole can come in the other end and we can go out the other end.
This is great.
Together.
This is excellent. So last but not least, Agatha, you're going to lay out a challenge. This is a next car. As you near the engine at the front of the train, another car that presents a challenge, and this one is going to be something that Palacious will have to engage with. So what confronts Palacious?
Something that he probably isn't going to like. This is the quiet car. Where if even a noise is made, the guardian of this car will absolutely snuff out whatever it is that has made that noise.
Yeah. This is probably for like some of those higher class passengers who don't want to be disturbed by hubbub on their way down to hell. They'd rather have a relaxing ride. Yeah. So, pal, how do you deal with the
It's
quiet
not a problem
car?
for me. It is a problem for our good fiddler friend. I just make a bet with him. I just bet him he can't stay quiet the entire car. Like, it's a little bit tricky because we have to whisper at the very beginning, and he doesn't get it. But I'm able to make a bet with him. We end up making it through the whole car based on that.
Man, so you lose the bet.
What did I win?
The first one I've ever lost in my life.
That's a costly sacrifice.
What does Cole end up with as his winnings here? Is it like more than bragging rights?
A handful of cake. No, I'm just kidding. I teach him it's like more of a gentleman's bet. So it's like you teach me a song and I'll teach you a card trick, is the bet. And so I teach him a very simple like card pull trick.
Beautiful. That means that we have kind of had our montage, seen some challenges that the Desperados have had to face. And so you kind of like push forward, wondering what awaits you as you kind of the smell of the like dried blood smell of the engine has gotten more intense. So you must be close now. You must be near to your prize, which, as you recall, is the deeds to your town sold by unscrupulous bankers, which for some reason is of interest to the forces of hell, and they've taken it. You got to take it back, as well as deal with your other various agendas. You push your way forward and find yourself suddenly in just opulent setting, right? the like rumbling of the train is kind of like reduced to the lowest of murmurs, because there are like kind of crimson and burgundy tapestries hung all around the walls of this long chamber. The floor is like deep red carpet you feel yourself almost sinking into, and in front of you is this long table, gleaming mahogany table, laden with food. There are kind of all along it these settings, roast geese, red grapes spilling out of their bowls, very rare steaks, and it kind of on the centerpiece, on a little cake stand, a massive red velvet cake topped with cherries. You like have a moment. At first, you take in just the table and what it's laden with, and then you see the man sitting at the far end of it. I say man, but he's 3 times the size of a normal man. Just utterly massive. Very very big boned. Completely bald head. Kind of crusted wine probably all around his mouth, and he like sets a massive hand on the table and like raises the other one to like gesture for you to approach.
I look at Catrice.
Yeah, Catrice, what do you do?
I step forward and I say, "Excuse me, I'd like to speak to your manager, please."
"Oh, I am the manager of this here train. You see, when your train runs on blood, you might think that it's wrath or lust that can shed enough to bring all these souls to their proper destination. But no, so much bloodshed comes just from gluttony, from people who are hungry for more than they've got, hungry for food, hungry for drink, hungry for status. And some of us are just gluttons for punishment, I suppose." And he lets forth a hearty laugh that seems to shake the whole car. And he says, "Yes, I'm the conductor of this here train. What can I do for you?"
"We're here to retrieve the deed to our town."
The deed that was sold fair and square. Well, what are you offering?
Well, that's easy. You may know that our town is already the proprietor of 2 saloons and 3 restaurants. Well, we intend to quadruple that. We'll bring in as much tourism as we can. And as soon as we have them in there, we allow them to feed and frolic and debaucherize as much as possible, feeding you with souls, as many as you need to come. Only thing we do request is that deed and your humble bartender from the other car yonder."
I do adore some debauchery, but why should I trust you to be the ringleader of this dissolution, when with the deeds in hand I can install whatever restaurants and other places for people to indulge their hungers as I want?
"Well, sir, we're willing to buy it from you if you accept a payment plan. You see, we'll do all the work that you were going to do anyways with our town, and you're going to be the one profiting from it without having to lift a finger."
So you're trying to negotiate with gluttony here?
Yeah, I've signed us up for a lot. I don't know if the town's going to be okay with this, but
I'm I'm fascinated by this approach. I think that I'm up to put it to a roll. I think even a full success here, there'll be some complication just given the nature of the wage, the bargain you're trying to strike, right? Like and the being you're trying to strike it with. So let's see what happens. Would you say you're kind of negotiating in like good faith here above the board, or do you have some like plan to pull a fast one, right? Like that, like let me hear what's the skinny on Catrice's approach.
That is interesting because I guess it's like, how far would I go to get Snakebite back? Because I am prone to sneak attacks, so it's not.
Oh, interesting. Are you just trying to like get him to like put out his hand for a handshake, and then there's a twist?
You know what? Why don't we do that? Yeah, I think if I can gain his, if I can get him talking enough and get close to him enough, I'll try. I think he'll fall. You know what? Let's do it. Let's sign everybody up to just become the town of the demons, and we'll try and really invest in tourism. I don't know, to try and get that done.
It turns out it was capitalism after all.
That's gonna be harder for me though. So I'll take a scar to do it because I only have 2 for lover. So but I'll be forthright here. I'm willing to have the town do it.
Okay. All right. So taking a scar. That's interesting. What do you think? Do you think the scar is just like some way that you're also marked by shaking hands with gluttony here?
I think it's a blood pact, right? I think you have to sort of sign.
Yeah. Okay. You have to sign in blood.
Mm-hmm. If you make a deal with this kind of creature, I think yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're hoping to sign in blood here. Nice. All right. Let's see what happens. I guess it is a lover roll since you're not trying to like sucker him or anything. Like you're actually like making a good faith offer and seeing what happens. Yeah. Is that right? Or you're muted.
Sorry, yes. So if I use if I like focus on one of my motives, do I get a die as well or no?
Yeah, you do. You do. If this is like very much in service of a motive, which I feel it is, then you would get a bonus dice.
I think I'm throwing like my entire town under the bus just all to get Snakebite back. But we can get through this. It's gonna be okay.
It's all for love. All right. So you're gonna roll 3d6. Now I should say, since this is like the first time someone's rolled 3 in this session, if at any point you roll 3d6 and all 3 of them are 6s, that is it for you. Right? That is the conductor punching your ticket. So let's see what happens when you roll those 3 dice. Ooh, what's your lover score?
2. So that is.
So none of those hit. You rolled 3 dice with no successes amongst them. Great. So like you're all set to do this, right? Like you is there like a bladed pen that you use that's like you scar yourself with it to get to write in the blood? Yeah. You write in blood, hand the contract. Gluttony like takes it and he just laughs, tears it up. He's like, stupid little desperado. I don't negotiate with those who try to rob from me. Snaps his fingers. Suddenly all around the room there are uniformed waiters in red. They're kind of taller and much taller and more imposing than the imps you saw earlier. These are clearly like higher ranking, devilish servitors, and they are grabbing Catrice, grabbing at Pal, hemming Agatha in. They haven't laid hands on you, but they're like standing all around you. So Catrice and Pal, you find yourselves like bundled up and like tossed onto the table, and then Gluttony says, "No, my one deal is with you, Fiddler." Cole, how do you react as Gluttony kind of like slowly turns his huge face towards you?
I feel like this is the guy I need to talk to about finding Steve. So, you got that right, you son of a gun. You better tell me where he's at.
And he kind of like makes another big gesture, and there's this huge covered platter, right? And like one of the waiters like lifts up the dome from the covered platter, and like lying like trussed up with like an apple stuck in his mouth is your enemy, Steve Miller, who like looks up at you with like desperate, pleading eyes. And Gluttony says, "Yes, Mr. Robbery, is it?
Yes, sir,
I hear tell. You're looking for the chance to exact retribution on Mr. Miller. I will give you the honor of carving this dish for me, if you'll just do one little thing and take care of that treacherous, untrustworthy fury you brought back aboard this train alongside you."
I don't know about slicing him up right there, but you give that boy a fiddle and let him know what's what. That is my song you stole. And as for this lady, now I ain't never seen a lady like her before, but I'd be a little bit more worried about her if I was you.
Well,
I ain't never seen her. I ain't never seen a girl swallow a manhole like that in my life. I've been places.
Indeed. Indeed. You see, it's your steady fiddle hand that I have need of. Because the Furies, why, they were sung into existence by the devil himself. And so you can sing them right back out if you've got the pipes on you.
Well, sir, I play mostly string instruments.
Now is not the time for games, Mr. Robbery. Do we have a deal? Agatha, they've like hemmed you in, but you're hearing all this. You can interject or otherwise intervene.
Well, Bob's gonna be rumbling, even though he just had a meal. He's a little bit hungry.
I'm sure he is.
There is so many sinners and unrepentant people and things in this room.
Mm.
And Agatha will be like, "Oh, now, Mr. Cole, I have nothing against you or any of my other compatriots here. But I would like to offer a deal to you, Mr. Cole. If you were to help me to take out this conductor here, I would give you what is on that there platter, and I will also help the urchin over there get her what she's after as well. And Mr. Powell, I'm not yet sure what it is what I could help you with, but if I had a whole train to myself, I'm sure that we could find something we could negotiate. And yes, as part of this deal, I will help you leave this train unmolested, or at least further unmolested.
I don't plan on leaving this train.
You say from where you've been tossed up onto like a platter on this table.
And I'm gonna look over at Gluttony and say, You're just like him, aren't you?
What do you mean?
The one who left me. You're just like him. I knew it was one of the two of you on this train. I just wasn't sure which one until I saw that cake.
He like cocks a quizzical eyebrow. What are you talking about, young man?
The two of you can never get enough. You want to eat, but he just wants to own.
Greed? Don't talk to me about that grubby, unsophisticated, right? Like he's kind of rumbling away with his resentments at this fellow deadly sin.
I'm not too happy with him either. I mean, sure, like it's easy for me to get money, but that's not what I want.
What do you hunger for, gambler?
I want to know why he left me. I'll tell you what. You give him the deeds. You let him go. You stop all this foolishness because obviously you're not willing to do any of this work yourself. And I'll go with you and we'll take care of him.
So this is a different deal. You're proposing teaming up with gluttony against greed.
Correct.
And offering, primarily your skill as a gambler, your never tell me the odds attitude.
And I'll tell you what. I'll even give you a chance to have everything you want. One draw, high card.
I see. So it's a bet you're putting forward.
I was like, I win, they get the deeds, they walk, or stay, or do whatever they want to do. I go with you. We take care of greed. You win. You do whatever you want with them. I go with you. We take care of greed.
Then we'll draw from my deck. And he kind of like pulls out this, set of cards that are shiny and red, and slams them down on the table. Let's talk about the stakes of this. I feel like it's going to end up being a die roll.
Yeah.
To do just a single high card draw, basically a game of war against gluttony. Where you are proposing joining forces with gluttony against greed, kind of no matter what.
Correct.
But if you win this card draw, your compatriots get their deeds and get to mosey out of here.
Yep.
I think it's probably a lover roll. It doesn't sound like it's 1,000,000 to 1 odds though, because it's just like the normal odds of two people both drawing from a deck, right? Like that's chancy, but not 1,000,000 to 1 odds.
I mean, if you don't think it's 1,000,000 to 1 odds, that's fine. I think it's a big risk. I think it's high odds. I think it's it also depends whether or not it's 1,000,000 to 1 odds depend on what we're using his deck means. So if you're telling me that this is a straight up deck, that it's in no way, shape, or form rigged, and that there's nothing Gluttony has done to slant these odds in his favor, which is a character I wouldn't believe, As a player, I'm absolutely willing to trust whatever Alexi tells me.
No, you're totally right. He specified using his deck. I think we can all agree that this deck is probably not a totally fair deck. So that does mean the odds are worse for you. So I'm willing to give you the 1,000,000 to 1 odds die. Sure.
Okay. And I'll take a scar no matter what.
Ooh.
Wow.
So I'm like open to the scar just being there's something like messed up about these cards that like hurts you to use them, or a different thing.
I think I've got a different thing regardless. I think I've got a better narrative hook on the back end than that.
Ooh, then let's roll. So it's you've got a score of 4 in Lover, and you're rolling 3 dice. What could go wrong here?
I got a 5. I got a 6. I got a 6.
5, 6, 6.
Yeah. So close to being 666.
So close to being 666. Yeah,
I
you
think,
draw.
So from the scar we see, as I draw my card, which is I think what we see is like a king of hearts come out, right? And then we watch Gluttony pull an ace of clubs after the fact. And then all of a sudden, like the well-appointed reality of Pal starts to grime up a little bit. Like we see kind of a greasiness fold over all of his clothes. We see them kind of lengthen, and the clothing starts to expand first, but then Pal himself becomes more corpulent. The skin around his his arms and legs burst against the seams of this expanded clothing. The only thing that is left intact, and only because they are now at the service of greed, as far as the shape of them, are his hands, which are now both black and dark cocoa covered, like the cake that he ate earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like gluttony chortles and says, "Welcome to the family, Pal. At long last, you belong." So, Agatha, the situation is devolving. I'm interested in what you do.
I unleash Bob. Rip open the material. That big mouth of the gnashing teeth comes out, and I guess other side the waiters who have just been hemming me in and too polite to do anything, and I go straight for Gluttony, I guess, and try to eat him.
Okay, so you're gonna try to eat Gluttony?
Can we attack together?
Yeah, are you attacking as well, Catrice? Like you got like kind of like grabbed and tossed up on the table, but we can say like, yeah, you tried to like slip a hand free or something.
Yes, I think it's like, even if I was like tied up, I feel like maybe if I have just enough in my hand, I can grab my smoke bomb and throw it in his face as a sneak attack while you're going for him.
This is great. You know what,
Fiddler? I also asked you for your help in this deal. Are you gonna join in too?
Well, I'm going to join in, but first I'm going to make sure that Steve Miller gets out of the way just in case he's collateral damage from the whole Bob eating, because I got business to settle.
Okay, so I feel like here's the order I want to do this.
But I got my fifth string.
I want to do Cole rolling to keep Steve Miller out of the way, and then we can kind of narratively have you assisting after that. But I feel like the biggest stakes here are whether you can acquire your target for revenge, right? Then I'll have Catrice roll for the smoke bomb, right? Which is a distraction supposed to create the opening such that that Gluttony is vulnerable. And then I'll have Agatha roll for unleashing Bob, and we will probably go to epilogues after that. And so like one way or another, we're going to determine the fates of these characters as we start making these rolls. So Cole, what are you doing to secure Steve Miller?
I'm just gonna like kick his platter off the table.
Nice.
I don't want to be too gentle.
Would you say that this is a lover role or a sinner role, since you're protecting him, but for the purposes of getting revenge on him yourself later?
Well, it's all really for the love of the art in the long run. So remind me again what happens if I were to take this as a sin roll and go into the 6.
If your sinner reaches 6, you are damned, and the train will claim you for the long ride down to hell. So if your sinner reaches 6, you are not going to be able to disembark from the train, or you're not going to be able to like go back to the mortal world.
However, we did say that we made like Agatha didn't. I think Agatha said that
I said you would leave unmolested if you took up the deal with me. Yeah.
And I've learned a thing already from my buddy Pal about cards and gambling. So I'm gonna go with the sin.
Okay. So it's a sinner roll where if you are successful, you will be damned.
Yep.
Go ahead. This is absolutely your revenge. So you've got 2 dice. You could throw in a scar if you want, or just see what happens with those 2.
Yeah, if I threw in that 3rd die, what would happen if I got double damned with the 6/6?
That would be the most dramatic roll I've ever in this game.
I'm gonna give myself a scar.
Okay.
Or should we go back to when I was learning how to tune my instrument, and occasionally I would break some strings, and I had one string snap and ripped me right across the face.
Oh, okay, nice. So this is like an old scar, like kind of reopening in this moment.
Yeah, it's wherever the viewers at home imagined it to be on my face.
All right, go ahead, roll 3 dice.
Never wanted to fail so bad.
And yet you got that 1. So
right.
Steve Miller is like out of the way, and like kind of like as you like whisk him off the table, he like kind of like tries to convey like thank you with his eyes as you move him away from where Bob is ravenously charging. Catrice, you were attempting a smoke bomb. Is this primarily about inflicting harm on Gluttony, or is this more something you're doing for the love of your allies? Like, what do we think this is? A lover roll or a sinner roll?
I think it's a sinner. I think it's my last sneak attack.
Oh, your final sneak attack. Sure. You are doing a sneak attack, so you get the bonus dice. You could take a 3rd scar, but that would leave you broken. And I know you are interested in getting off this train if you possibly can.
I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to take, since it's my last roll anyways, I'm going to take my 3rd scar.
Okay, so like, just so you know, that means the only way you're getting off the train is if someone like drags you off the train.
Hopefully snakebite will come.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. A 3rd scar, as you basically, you'd been like hastily tied by the waiters, and so like you have to, is it that you have to like dislocate something or like do something like a little like nasty and extreme in order to like get free enough to do the sneak attack, like, or are you picturing something else for the scar?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think there's like probably multiple of them on me, and like one of them can even like shoot me in the arm,
Nice. Okay.
I'm trying to wrestle free and then throw the stink bomb. My last one.
right at Gluttony's like hypersensitive nose, right? Because of course, to like really appreciate all of the stuff he gormandizes on, he has to be able to smell it well. Yeah. So this is a roll with 3 dice. We got a stink bomb. We got a scar.
2 1s.
2 1s. Critical success. Okay, so like as Gluttony is like gloating in his triumph, he's suddenly really back saying, What is that? Infernal smell.
Infernal.
Yeah. Agatha, you are charging forward with Bob. This feels like probably it's a sinner roll as well.
Yeah, definitely a sinner roll.
Hoping perhaps to consume Gluttony himself.
Yes, I want to punish him for even dare wanting to take me out. I mean, that's just wrong.
Your speciality is punishment. That's 2 dice.
Yeah.
Are you taking another scar by any chance?
Yes, I will.
We saved them all up for this.
For my scar, I want to say that Bob grows bigger.
Oh. I mean,
and
that
makes sense. Agatha has to jump and do death from above, essentially. So in order to get all of Gluttony in, she basically almost bends over backwards in half to get the even wider mouth down on over Gluttony's.
So your humanoid part is kind of like becoming less and less as the like great maw grows.
Kind of is more like a flip top. So all of her head back and everything goes back. So
that is very disturbing to picture, I have to say.
Yeah, I thought it would be. So 3 dice.
3 dice.
Oh, 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay. Agatha, Bob has been ready for this. There's no one more unrepentant than the conductor himself. And so like Gluttony, shrieks out, and then the shriek is muffled as, Bob kind of like closes around him. And this lavish feast becomes this scene of like, utter carnage. And that's kind of where the heist is reaching its conclusion. So now we turn to epilogues. Let's. Wow, I don't know. I guess we should start with Agatha, because it feels like by consuming Gluttony, you have become the major authority on this train. So like, what you tell us in your epilogue will affect things for our fellows. Just like everyone keep in mind kind of where your lover and sitter stats ended up, and think a little bit about how that affects your approach to giving us some glimpses of your character in the wake of this heist. So Agatha and Bob, why don't you first tell me a little about what we would see as by way of epilogue for your character?
Well, after she and Bob came out of their food coma, she would have taken up residence. Well, she would have had someone clean off the throne chair he was essentially lounging in, and take up residence there. And she would pardon her companions, and also offer those who have been damned or said they didn't want to leave the option to leave, but to work for her. So really it's up to them. She's putting the ball in their courts.
All right. Then Cole, what do we see as a glimpse of your future? Keeping in mind, kind of what where you ended up, but also the clemency extended by the new conductor, dare I say, since Agatha seems to have taken that role for herself. Cole, we're asking you about kind of what we should picture as an epilogue.
So I imagine I get my opportunity for my duel with Steve Miller, and I'm gonna so imagine he's clothed now. He's got I'm gonna take all the sheet music. Say, we don't need no darn sheet music for this. It's you and me, buddy. Fiddle v fiddle. Want to show you who's the talented, most In this big old town of 25 people, it's me.
Cole, you saved me from that monster's table back there. We don't have to do this. I respect you as a musician.
I didn't save you for saving you, boy. I saved you so I could end you myself.
Is that how it's gonna be?
You no good tune stealing, lizard licking.
Never licked no lizards.
And you won't ever get a chance to after I'm done.
So
Start
like
rosining up the string just like extra vigorously.
he sighs and like gets ready for the duel. And is it like, do we like pull back and we see it's like, high noon in the town square where you've like called him to account here? Is that the right sort of imagery?
Yeah, I'm like, I got my fiddle on my thing, just like about to kind of like how the cowboys in the West, they would do that thing with their gun. I'm doing that with the fiddle.
Nice. Yeah. Do we see the duel, or do we like cut away as the first like reverberations of the strings starts to sound?
Well, you get some close-up shots of me, close-up shots of him. You get a few like townspeople up in windows. General store has shut its doors.
There's like a child walking along, and like the parents like pull him back, like no, this is too serious for you.
Yeah, there's some crows and some vultures off in the distance because they just know what's coming.
Yeah, gotta be vultures circling overhead. Maybe a little sniff of that heady smell of Gluttony's table is still clinging to you, Cole. After everything that happened. Cool. Then, Catrice, what do we see in your epilogue?
Well, I think we cut back to Snakebite. And he's wiping down the bar, and it's been a little bit of chaotic with the change of management. And he just kind of takes a sigh and then pulls up a beer, drinks it down, and he sees at the bottom of his bottle, he sees me. But it's an optical illusion. At the other end of the room is Catrice.
Aww.
And she's sitting on the platter of one of the waiters. And he carries her over, and she sits on the top of the bar. She says, "Well, I'm guessing you heard all that happened. I've been shot. Can you take me home?"
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. And so like we get we get like the ride into the sunset moment, right? Somehow for Catrice and her devilish bow. Last but not least, Palacious. What do we see for you?
We see the Overland Frost train pull into the city of Dis. Dark skies overhead, a mix of Gothic and brutalist architecture that defies any sense of taste or reasonability. Screams of delight and terror kind of echo in the background, along with the screech of the brakes of the train. As we see a set of we have the same overhead shot coming towards the front of the train that we saw at the very beginning. As it pans down over, we see Pal back in the same outfit. The weight from the pardoning having dropped off. It looks like he's checking a watch at first until you look down and see that he's got a card pulled out. And it's the needle, and it's not spinning. It's pointing directly to a nearby casino that says Greed's over the door, and he starts making his way towards it.
All right. So still committed to bringing down Greed somehow deep here in the bowels of the Infernal City. This has been the Great Soul Train Robbery. Thank you all for playing.
Yay!
Yeah, thank you for running it.
Absolutely.
That was fantastic.
We do a little thing here on Plus One EXP called Reaction Roll. Reaction Roll is a live stream within a live stream. It's our chance to sit down with the creator of the game we just played and talk to them about what it was like to play that game. Today, we are talking with Alexi Sargent about the Great Soul Train Robbery. We just finished playing it. Now we're going to find out about it. Alexi, for anybody who wasn't with us at the very beginning or who just caught the very end of our play, tell us a little bit about the Great Soul Train Robbery.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Great Soul Train Robbery is a sweetened by honey heist game. It is about desperados robbing the train to hell, and tells stories of kind of allegorical weird Western action and adventure. In the session we just played, developed into this battle with Gluttony, the conductor of the train, and he tried to offer tempting things to the various desperados. They tried to cut deals with him, and kind of at every turn got cheated and swindled until they just decided, you know what, we're gonna eat Gluttony himself, as the renegade fury just opened up the massive mouth in her abdomen to consume Gluttony, and that is the kind of over the top, mythological, kind of wild ending that the Great Soul Train Robbery can build to. If folks are interested in getting it themselves, they should check out clovenpinegames.itch.io, where you can find some links pointing in different directions. There's extra copies of Great Soul Train Robbery that Plus One EXP is selling, because you helped me to ship it out to Kickstarter backers, and folks can still order it from your site. But another good way to get it, if you're interested in other games I'm doing, is if you go to pre-order Back Again from the Broken Land, my Tolkien-esque game of small adventurers sharing stories on the long walk home, there is the option to get the zine, the printed zine of the Great Soul Train Robbery, as an add-on. So that is a really good place to get the Great Soul Train Robbery if you want to get your hands on this nice, shiny physical copy.
And they are two of my favorite games from the last 2 years in Zine Quest. If you go to the link right below my face right now, it'll take you to the pledge manager for Back Again from the Broken Land, and you can pick up that Zine 2-pack, which I will say I think is the best way. Even though you can go to my store and pick it up, I think the best way to pick it up right now is to go pick up both of those games. They'll be shipping out shortly, and so I'm very excited to see people pick up both of those, because they are both phenomenal games. If you want to know more about what Back Again to the Broken Land is like, we've got a review and an actual play over on our YouTube channel for both of those things also too. I had a blast. I've got some thoughts about the game, but I also have played it before and have thoughts about most games that we play here on stream. Let's hear from our other players first. Mark, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play the Great Soul Train Robbery?
Hey, so I write games, and my name is Mark, and I am on Twitter at @SpaceSibling, because I am non-binary and make sci-fi games. I really enjoyed this. It was super fun. I immediately was so on board with the aesthetic and the wild ideas. I mean, I had originally read through a lot of the charts in the smaller PDF, and then looking at the larger one, it was so much information as well. So it was just super exciting to read through a lot of it, and then know that when you're playing, every train car can have its own adventures and have its own whole new ideas. And it was super fun. It was great. It felt like we crossed so much ground too. We covered so much. So
yeah, awesome.
Did you have
any questions you wanted to ask Alexi about the game?
No, you know what? I guess what made my favorite part was the montage. I love that mechanic. Where was the roots for that?
Yeah, so that's something I stole from a GM that I've loved to play with in the past. So shout out to Jim Crocker of Jim Likes Games, where I think you could find him still on Twitter under Jim Likes Games. He ran some wonderful sessions at the Gauntlet gaming community, and used on a couple occasions that kind of montage technique to create just just the sense of a bigger adventure, and kind of a lead into a finale, right, where it kind of gives you that feeling of oh, there's more, we're just getting glimpses of everything, and you kind of step back from the mechanics of the game, switch to a purely narrative, and give people the chance to set up challenges and then pass it on to the next person to knock them down, and it creates this creates this really cool effect. So I wrote it into the GM advice for Great Soul Train Robbery, like as a principle for GMs to turn to. Sometimes use a montage, and so I'm glad to hear it worked well for you. I really enjoyed the cars that you guys came up with. The challenges that you put forward while we were doing that montage, and kind of taking that breather from the actual mechanics of the game created this really cool moment to together paint the environment and explore the characters a little through like what do they do if you're not rolling dice. What do you get to describe your character doing to overcome these challenges?
Yeah. Awesome. Let's hear from Sarah next. Sarah, tell people who you are, what you do, and what you thought about playing the Great Soul Train Robbery.
Hey, I'm Sarah, also known as Zero. I am the keeper / GM / host, I guess, for the podcast Redgate and Wolf. Like I said before, Sassy Thief, Scottish Werewolf, Shenanigans Ensue. You can find me on Twitter at ZeroRPG or on my Linktree / Zero does stuff. That's all my stuff there, including my mystery on drive-through on itch and the podcast and everything else. I had a really good time playing this game. This was really fun. Like I said before to you guys, I haven't played anything since the 4th of March, so it was really fun to get back in and get to role play and also use a very simple and easy to understand system, because like Rosie said earlier, I don't want to read those big books either.
Awesome. Do you have any questions you want to ask Alexi?
Unfortunately not. There's nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
Sure. If you think of something in a second, feel free to toss it out. Also, chat, if you're watching right now, you have questions, toss them in the chat. Happy to share them on stream. But yeah, if you take one, just let us know. Rosie, how about you? Tell us who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play Great Soul Train Robbery.
Hey, once again, I'm Rosie, short for Rosenbagger, which has always been my gamer tag. I love joining other people on their projects. I, too, have not played since March 4th, where I played Jax and Sarah's Redgate and Wolf. I've also been playing a character named Carlton Merriweather in Bravo Team for role players. It's really fun. I love coming on doing characters, even for one shots. That's almost even better. I love the ability to fail and to make things interesting and to improv. And you guys have been amazing for that. So I thank you for letting me join last minute.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, I do. So Mark already asked the question I was going to ask, which is about the montages and if that was part of the GM part of the playbook, because I didn't read anything past what my character was, which is great for getting into a game, I think, because it's already hard enough to schedule everybody at the same time, let alone convince or having to read through a bunch of literature. So this is amazing to jump right in. So my question will be a little bit less about the game and more about your creative process. What sort of inspirations or what kind of, I mean, seems to draw heavily from Westerns. What kind of Westerns inspired you most on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the touchstones are actually kind of wide ranging. I wrote down in the kind of acknowledgments here. It's inspired by works like Hadestown, Pretty Deadly, and The Celestial Railroad. So Hadestown, wonderful musical, and right from the start it tells us on the road to hell there was a railway line. So the idea of robbing the train to hell kind of for me was partly doing my own Americana riff on Orpheus and Eurydice. So one of the possible one of the possible prizes aboard the train is a song so pure the devil couldn't let humanity have it, which is one of the more like directly Hadestown referencing possibilities in the game. Pretty Deadly is this wonderful comic book series by Kelly Sue DeConnick, and that is about kind of personifications of death and his reapers in a kind of mythological Old West world. So that kind of level of kind of poetry and folklore, in a Western setting, kind of really like letting things step out of the literal and become these big concepts, like death himself, is a major touchstone for Great Soul Train Robbery 2. All the possible conductors of the train include the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, the 7 Deadly Sins. We met gluttony tonight. So a lot of that has a feel from Pretty Deadly. And then the Celestial Railroad is an allegory by Nathaniel Hawthorne, where he's riffing on the classic Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan, but instead of the like long progress that the pilgrim has to make in the Celestial Railroad, some very generous people have built a train that will take you right to heaven. Definitely not to some other place. So you should get aboard this train. Check your baggage. To make sure it's it won't like roll away from you at any point along the journey, and you'll be ready to be put right back on your back when you get off the train. It's this biting satire of the transcendentalist religious philosophers of his day, but it's also just very fun as a little allegory with this locomotive at its heart. And so that was just another unusual piece of source material for Great Soul Train Robbery. I don't know that there's lots of other games that are pegged to that specific Nathaniel Hawthorne story, but this one wears that influence on its sleeve.
Love it. If anybody else has thoughts or questions, feel free to toss them out. I had a blast. I always do playing Great Soul Train Robbery. It's one of my favorite games. It was the first like indie non-D&D game that my child also totally fell in love with and wanted to run for all their friends. My youngest got to have it run. You didn't run that one. It was somebody else at SargeCon, but it was a great time to go out and actually play in person for the first time in a while. And my youngest, who is 13, loves this game tremendously also, in addition to me. So I love it anytime I get a chance to play it. I love the allegorical components. I can't leave the caboose without checking what's in there, because I feel like Alexi always gives a pretty good hint about what's some good foreshadowing about who we're going to end up going up against, which is my question.
You say foreshadowing like I've chosen something ahead of time, as opposed to I roll on my loot table and then based on that I start thinking like, maybe
I know. Yeah, so
I
know it's a different type of foreshadowing, but that was my question, whether you've decided and you're rolling with that in mind, or whether or not you roll and then you're like, okay, here's what we found. That's going to start building out where we go, which seemed more likely, but I was just curious.
Both are legit approaches for the GM. I kind of leave it up to the GM, like when they want to roll, when they want to decide on the conductor. So there's a table of conductor options, so you could roll on it, or you could see like how the themes are coming together in the game and be like, I feel like this train is being conducted by famine, or I feel like this train is being conducted by the devil himself. I want to see that scene, right?
Yeah. No, I love watching those different pieces build. It's interesting, like having played the game a number of times, watching the way parties interact with each other and the way narratives build. Like this definitely felt like 4 individuals pursuing their reasons for getting on the train. This is not good or bad. Like I think we all worked together. I think we all collaborated. I think we took care of each other. This is not a party management judgment. This was the one where I felt like individual motivations actually played the most consistent through line, as opposed to the party kind of becoming entangled in one central concept. And sometimes that's just because of what comes up on the dice. Like people will be related to each other, have stronger connections than we started out with. I loved Agatha and Bob. It's not a game thing. It's more of like a star. I loved people always depict Furies in different ways. Like sometimes they're very traditional, sometimes they're very bird-like, or demonic, or other things like that. Giant mouth in humanoid woman, definitely most original Fury that I have seen in plays, and was tremendously enjoyable to see just unfold. And I love that the system flexibility, by being a very, very, very simple but elegant system, just leaves plenty of space for that. And eating gluttony was one of the coolest finishes that I think I've seen. So yeah, I had a great time. Alexi, we talked about this a little bit. We didn't, and it's not fully developed yet. But you have a nautical version of this game that you're working on. Will you tell people a little bit about Devil in the Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah. So that's the pirate version of this, where you are freebooters raiding the armada of the damned. So that is that is a shorter length game, but you can download a version of it on itch.io, and especially if you've played Great Soul Train Robbery and want to kind of change things up, take the more like kind of Pirates of the Caribbean, sea shanty inflected version of this. There is a lot of fun to be had there, where you're going from ship to ship. Seeking for the treasure in the flagship of this damned armada, and instead of the conductor, there's the admiral that you might confront, which has some different possibilities of what that final encounter is going to be like. So yeah, there is a page on the Cloven Pine Games itch.io where you can download the Devil in the Deep Blue Sea. That was a stretch goal from the Kickstarter for Great Soul Train Robbery. Was like, yeah, if we clear this, we'll write ourselves a pirate reskin, and that's a lot of fun as well.
Awesome. I absolutely, it's again one of my favorite games to sit down and play. Phenomenal as a one shot. I wrote a game called Santa Side Squad, which is a Christmas elf honey heist hack where it's one part Suicide Squad, one part Italian Job, one part claymation movie. But one of the options, somebody has stolen something from the North Pole, and you are Christmas's last best chance for to happen. And so you have to go. But one of the options is, I can't remember what I call it, because I don't call it the Arctic Express. I call it something like some other train name. But when I run that version of it, like if I roll up that it's a reverse train heist, I just basically also pull out Great Soul Train Robbery and put it alongside, and I just fuse them together. And so your Christmas elves doing it. It is one of the options on there, and I've done it twice now, and it's tremendous. And it was because one of the times when I did it, like people just started like bringing out all these totally twisted motifs when Christmas spirit was low, and I was like, why am I not using Great Soul Train Robbery? And it was right next to me, and so I pulled it out and just started plugging in some of the different cars. And so if you're ever going to run a train heist, even in just your whatever system you're running in, like this is such a great spin on it. It's such a great tool. I would encourage you to play it as a standalone game, but also think about how you just drop it in any sort of ongoing campaign that you have also too. Because it's super enjoyable to do that way as well. I want to remind people again, go check out the link right below my face. Check out Back Again from the Broken Land and Great Soul Train Robbery. You can pick up physical copies over at +1exp.com along with our games or any of our bombs. You can also go to the Cloven Pine itch.io to go check out all the other things that Cloven Pine is up to. Tons of tremendous games that I absolutely adore. We've got a couple great streams coming up over the course of the next couple days that I want to let you know about. Tomorrow we are playing Bones Deep, which is a troika setting an adventure where you are skeletons wandering along the bottom of the ocean. All skeletons have the ability to touch things and absorb memories from them, so you're exploring wreckage and other stuff like that. But in classic troika fashion, it just goes more gonzo than that, based on the amazing things. David Sherduwan, who's the creator and going to run it for us tomorrow, is one of the best troika creators who is out there constantly thinking about interesting settings and concepts. I can't wait to play that tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. And then Monday and Tuesday, we're sitting down with Jason Cordova at 2 p.m. in the afternoon to play Brindlewood Bay 2-shot. So it'll be two episodes back to back, one Monday, one Tuesday. We're playing the Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul event. It's, if you aren't familiar with Brindlewood Bay, it's coming to Kickstarter later on this month. But it is, you are playing a book club of old mavens, kind of matronly ant-like women who get together in a book club and talk about things, and those things actually have connections to the real world and mysteries and Cthulhu-like cults that are emerging. So if you like H.P. Lovecraft meets Murder, She Wrote, you're going to want to come check out Brindlewood Bay with us on Monday with Jason and some other amazing folks. Other great games going up next week. We've got a bunch of other fun stuff that's going to be happening, so keep an eye over on that. We're talking to Adam Voss about their creation and design work later on this week on Thursday. Can't wait to share that and other amazing things with y'all as well. We don't have a good way that we end streams, so until next time, I'm just going to wave at the screen until I take us off air. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you later.